from All Ends Media, and this is Playing in Traffic, where we play in traffic, talk to all the best and the brightest car people in the industry. We got my man Carl Anthony from Automoblog. He's a regular guest and one of our favorites. How's it going?
Hey guys, good to be back, and I just posted up on Twitter with a link to let everybody know that we are live and we are in the house with Motormouth Radio too.
You're going to get a reputation, because you're hanging around with some unsavory kind of characters, and the word's going to get around.
Yeah, I know, right?
Couple shady looking dudes on here. I don't know.
Shady, subversive.
Right.
What's the other word? Non-politically correct.
Non-politically correct for sure. Well, I think I was on I was on your show, Motormouth Radio, a couple weeks back, and so so it figures only a matter of time before back to playing in traffic again.
It's like playing ping pong.
I like it. I like it, and I felt bad, Lewis, because you texted me last week to come on the show, and I couldn't, and so because we're moving and living out of boxes.
Hey, I know the feeling.
Oh, I hate moving, and so I had like a million things going on. So I was like, Lewis, I'll make it up to you next week, I promise.
I appreciate you. You're always a good guest on here, man. Anytime.
So we warmed him up for you. Don't worry, we got him all warmed up.
Yeah.
He's ready to go.
So last week we were talking about the chips down. The chips for the vehicles. So what are you hearing being in the thick of things?
Yeah, man, just that there seems to be no end in sight, not just in the U.S., but in Europe as well, particularly Germany. That has been the big news. Germany's been hit really hard, production stoppages. So much of their economy relies on export of the automobile. So BMW, Audi, Mercedes-Benz, a lot of the German manufacturers were down. Here in the U.S., like major brands like Ram and Jeep were down for the third quarter. And the demand is there, but the supply just isn't. So I kind of think it depends on where you go. And here's why I say this. So here in the Detroit area, a lot of the big dealerships where you would go and you'd see a bunch of Ram trucks, a bunch of Ford trucks, GM trucks, like lots are pretty empty, and it really doesn't matter like what they're selling, whether they're selling Hondas, even like the Maserati dealership here, there just isn't very much. We've got a Lamborghini, Maserati, Bugatti, Bentley kind of combination up here, up north of the city. And even they're scarce, right? But a couple weeks back, my wife and I went to the Hillsdale County Fair. Highly recommend if you're ever in Michigan this time of year. But Hillsdale is just a small community, probably 2.5, 3 hours from here in Detroit. So my wife and I are driving through Hillsdale on the way to the fair a couple weeks ago. And the local Chevy dealership and Ford dealership there in town seem to have a lot more cars. Like we both audibly said, wow, that's like crazy. Like they seem to have more cars in this smaller town than anybody else. And then several of the dealers had a display at the fair and they were stocked full in their little area. So I don't know. It seemed, maybe it depends on where you go, but everything that we're hearing, everything that we're seeing is that, this chip shortage is going to continue for the foreseeable future.
So I guess at that moment you were not using the GPS because your wife was actually talking to you.
Oh, yes. This is exactly what we talked about a couple weeks ago. Yes.
You have to, here's a shameless plug. Go to motormouthradio.com. Listen to that show from 2 weeks ago because my wife won the prize because she actually shares the GPS. We found out that Carl's wife and my co-host Chris's wife hog the GPS and won't let them know and they're driving. So,
right.
I'm like, what the hell's up? So my wife said, I have to listen to that just to make sure you said the right thing. I'm like, yes, dear.
Yep.
Radio professional. I know what to do.
Yep.
I do. I'm driving. Her phone is on silent, and she's like, "Okay, up here, turn right, turn left." I mean, we went to my brother-in-law got married about a month ago in Cleveland, and of course, we drove down to Cleveland.
Oh, I wish I'd have known. I would have came up and gave you a hug.
Yeah, dude, I'm sorry. It was like literally just an overnight. Like down, back, like hotel, I mean, I've been to Cleveland before, but I'd never been to this part of Cleveland. It was the same kind of thing, right? We're going to the venue, we're going to the wedding and the reception, same kind of thing. Driving through Cleveland traffic. She's like, okay, up here, this exit, like, I had no idea. I couldn't hear anything on her phone. So.
Right. How long of a trip is that, Carl, from you guys down to Cleveland?
2.5, 3 hours.
That's
at
it.
the
I thought it
most.
would be more than that. Okay.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. And Chicago's not much farther either, you know.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
just
it's not
put
a bad trip. It's
GPS
all-
on my center stack, and I let Siri tell me where to go.
Right.
It's all turnpike too, so it's a good ride.
Yep. Good, really good ride once you get on the Ohio Turnpike. Like it, and it's way different. I mean, not picking on Michigan here, but the roads, it's like a night and day difference when you go from Michigan and cross over into Ohio.
Now, just the turnpike is good. All the side roads and any other freeways are terrible in Ohio.
Yeah.
They do keep up the turnpike though.
It was nice. I mean, we hadn't been to Cleveland in a while, so we walked down just like the morning before the wedding, real quick. Walked down by Lake Erie, walked down by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and by where the Browns Stadium is. That was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to see. I hadn't been in about 4 years down there,
Nice.
4 or 5 years.
So, Carl, if I'm not mistaken, you were on or going to be on Market Scale TV to talk about the German automakers and how they impact the U.S.?
Yeah, I was just on Market Scale, and here, let me do a shameless plug, but that is on our homepage, automoblog.net. Market Scale is a business-to-business type publication, so that's kind of their focus. But they do have automotive and transportation coverage, and so at the beginning of this week, they had invited me on to talk specifically about the economy in Germany, and if there are potentially any ripple effects here in the United States, to which I said, yes, there most certainly is, because German brands were down here in the US in the third quarter as well. Volkswagen, Audi, everybody, all the German manufacturers are down. But the key thing in Germany is that it's not just microchips. It's as I understand it, from the reports that I've read from Reuters was the one report I read. They're just all natural resources are short in Germany. Right. So it's not, aluminum, lithium, ion, right? It's not just computer chips. It's like everything is in short supply right now. And that is hindering their economy. So it's not just chip shortage. It's all this other stuff.
Just so you know, I think that Macho Man Brian's short on 1/4-inch flex head ratchets on the ceiling there. I think he's maybe a little light right in that one little corner. So
yeah,
and
here's the thing. I wish I'd have known that, because I'd have brought that up, because I've been like, look, guys.
I know firsthand how Mercedes is having trouble, because my wife's new Mercedes Benz had to come from Africa.
Really?
Her lease was up.
Okay.
And she went down. Well, they try to call her like 4 months ahead of time.
Right.
Because she literally puts about 8 miles a day on the car. So they want to get her car back and put it on the line and sell it.
Yep, of course.
This year, they didn't call her. And then she happened to be driving by and said, I know my lease is coming due in about a month or so, and I haven't heard from you guys. And he's like, well, let's see what we have. And they walked around, and she's like, well, you don't have anything that I want.
Right.
So he goes, all right, well, stay with your car, and we'll try and find something for you, and we'll call you. So they sat down, went through the list of the things that she wanted the car to have. And he said, I'll give you a buzz. And a week later, he said, there is none here in the country in the color you want, with the options you want, the way you want it.
Right.
He said, so your lease is up, but keep the car, and there's no charge. And we're having a car brought over from Africa.
Wow.
South Africa.
Sure.
So they put that thing, I guess, on a boat, and somehow, I guess that cargo ship made it here. And
anything to put a deal on the board, I suppose, for them.
Yeah.
Wow.
So her car came from South Africa, and she's not very happy with it.
Sure.
3 or 4 days after she got it, the driver's side power window button, when she picked it up to lift the window, the button fell off.
Wow.
Right.
So the car had to go back, literally like 4 days old, to have another window button put in. Now, almost a week ago, she's just been too busy, and I told her, just call them, they'll come get the car. There's an error light check engine light that's on.
Really?
And today she came home and she says, my car is giving me messages that it's only getting 11 miles a gallon.
Right.
So I'm like, you need to call them tomorrow and tell them to come pick the car up.
Yeah, for as expensive as a Mercedes-Benz.
I said, obviously that car must have been built on a Friday afternoon or something.
Probably.
In the Gotcha factory, yeah.
Holiday weekend.
Yeah. But they're good because they'll literally come with a car, leave it at school, and take her car, and it won't be an issue no matter how long they have it. But for a car that's just getting to 1,000 miles, it's got problems.
Yeah, you can't
those errant buttons are a pain in the neck. I know on the console in the studio, there's 4 buttons that we use we can bring up 4 things out of the computer vault, and it's kind of a radio thing. Once you want to hit them, you want to hit the post kind of quick. You want like a nice tight gap, and one of them, whenever I hit it, I'll do like this, and then the button pops off and just flies in the air. So I usually try and catch it.
Yeah.
Just put it back on.
Yeah. So in terms of cars here in Florida, the largest, I think it's the largest Ford dealer in the Southeast, Brandon Ford.
Okay.
They literally have a warehouse just down the block where they park stock indoors.
Yes.
I was told by a friend of mine that building is empty.
Wow.
When you drive past the dealership, there's about, of all of the stuff that they sell, there's about 30 vehicles on the lot.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on the other end of my town, there's a small Ford dealership.
Sure.
There are 8 cars in the lot. You might as well just close the doors.
Right.
I've got a Toyota dealership that has over 800. It's Toyota Lexus.
Right.
Yeah.
They normally have 800 cars on the lot. They're down to 25.
Yeah, but do they know where a vacuum port is on a 1GRE?
I talked to 2 different guys, and they said use the brake booster.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I asked Brian.
They said anything past the throttle body, but they said just tie into the brake booster, and I was like, yeah, okay.
I had asked Brian to check with the Toyota guys because on my FJ I want to run a vacuum gauge in the truck, and I looked at that engine. And there's like a switched vacuum port. There's PCV, which you don't want to use. There's no like manifold vacuum sources like on an American car. So I figured the Toyota guys would know, and they come up with brake boosters. So I guess I'll be looking somewhere else.
The brake booster. They said as long as you make a good connection, you shouldn't have any problem.
Nah, you know what? I may actually drill and tap a hole in the intake plenum and put
That's what I would do. But
all right.
Unfortunately, I've got a used toolbox over here that is sold, and I've been waiting a month now for the slide rails.
Oh, yeah.
For the drawer, because there was a couple of them that were broken, and because we don't have the stamped steel for the slide rails, and they don't know when they're going to get them, I am now taking slide rails apart and rebuilding them to make it work, so I can make this sale happen tomorrow.
Now that's pretty bad because Matco actually does make their own toolboxes in Jamestown, New York. They have a huge plant up there where they actually make their own toolboxes. So for you to not be able to get that,
there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff. I got a locker back here for sale. I've been waiting months for the adapter bracket. It's very, very it's very difficult. Very, very difficult trying to stay in business.
Well, we already determined on last week's show when Brian called how dedicated he is and just how crazy he is. So check out last week's show and you can hear all about that.
It's every industry. I called today to order my steel for my roof raise.
Okay.
And the lady, I said I need to buy some square tube. So she goes, hold on. So a guy gets on the phone. He says, what do you want? And I'm thinking, like, wait a minute, maybe he thinks I'm somebody else. I was like, hi, my name's Lewis. I need to order some square tube. And he's like real frustrated, like, oh, okay. He goes, how much do you need? And so I told him, and he goes, well, we don't have that in stock. So he gave me another company to call.
Right.
I was like, okay. So I called his other company. His other company says you have to buy in bulk. You have to buy 50 sticks.
Right.
I was like, well, I only need 2 sticks.
Oh, geez. Is that like 2x3 that you're looking for?
No, 1 by 1.5.
Oh, it's smaller. Okay.
Yeah. So I called back to the first guy. I was like, hey, they said I had to buy in bulk. They told me to call you back. So he goes, all right, what do you want? So I told him again. He goes, well, it's going to be about a week. I was like, well, how much does it cost to get it cut? He was like, man, I'm so short. I don't have nobody here to work. He goes, I don't know when we can cut it. I was like, listen, just cut it so I can fit it in the truck, 12-foot length, because it's 24 foot. And he was just so upside down, man. I was like, oh, I felt bad for him, but I was ready to get in him because he's kind of rude.
Right.
Swing by with the bus, pick it up with that.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't think of that. Yeah.
I don't even know the work. I'm thinking like the work bus.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't think of that.
That's it. Slide it right in the back door. Woo.
But this whole thing is hitting everybody, man. The shortage of workers, truck drivers.
Yep.
It's
terrible. Lewis, I was just going to say, I think you're right. Obviously my wife and I moved to a new place here. It took us about 2.5 weeks to get a vacuum cleaner. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like just little things like that you don't think, so it's like even to get, I think it's, I have no idea when it will end. Where there's just so many bottlenecks in the supply chain. You know what I mean? And automotive. I mean, a lot of the news is on automotive, but the thing is that automotive is such a big industry that it tends to encompass. So like automotive and transportation closely overlap. So then you do have trucking, you do have freight, right? Like it all overlaps. But as I understand it, and the way I have. Is that last year when everybody was home, right? So everybody's home during COVID, there was just a surge in people ordering electronics because everybody was doing Zoom meetings. So, and even I did the same thing. Like I bought a new computer, I got a new webcam, right? Because I was using it more. I wasn't doing any in-person conferences. You had parents, putting kids through school, virtually, right? So it's like all these consumer electronics, this demand for semiconductors just hit a peak last year, and now all of a sudden here we are, kind of the windfall from that. That was one report that I've read that sort of makes sense anyway.
The craziest part is probably about in the third quarter of last year. We have a regional meeting every 6 weeks, basically, and they told us then. Because they had pictures of the ports and the boats backed up then. Yeah. And they said, this was like in the third quarter of last year. And they said, we're expecting, because by that time we were talking about, hey, what about these back orders? We're at, and there were certain things. Our shoes, we have Redback, which is an Australian brand shoe. Okay. And, of course, they, before the pandemic, they went through that natural disaster over the fire. Yep. And, they lost, they had all kinds of problems. And, of course, the shipping. And then on top of that, for their good fortune, they got what's it called? A contract with the military, the Australian military, to do all their boots. So then they were like, well, we got to stop and we got to take care of the Army and Navy and Marines and whatever the Australian kangaroos are. And but going along the line, we were kind of put back. And then, of course, I think I'm up to like 200 days waiting for boots. And I'm getting ready to get in my busy season. But, I kept telling people, man, we're going to have problems. And that was, like I said, the third quarter of last year.
Right, you keep the stool in the truck too with the little shoe size and things, so you can sit on it and check the guy's feet and make sure they got.
Well, I do. If I'm not being called Al Bundy, It's Santa Claus.
Yeah.
So,
All
I
right,
kind of just tell people, look,
got it.
don't worry, these shoes will make you run faster, jump higher, and
Right.
stop quicker. So
Right.
That's it.
it's kind of crazy.
Those were the days, man. Being a kid, going to the shoe store, they you put your foot on the
That thing with that slide deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you, and up till about maybe 10 or 15 years ago, even in Sears, they used to have one of them. And I just go take it, do it myself, and and get the right size. But now that even disappeared.
Yeah, I was in Target the other day, and I walked by the shoe place, and they had a little mat out with the different size shoes that you stepped in. It was kind of weird,
Yeah. So I read this post, and I'm wondering if this is really one of the true reasons why we're having so much problems, because of how much freight comes out of California.
Yeah.
And it says that California passed this law called AB5.
Yep.
Okay.
Which states that no trucks must be 2011 or newer
Yep.
Yeah, that's
to
true.
get into California.
Yep. That's
And
right.
California has banned owner operators because they are not union drivers. So you've basically told a boatload of independent people, don't come to my state.
Wow.
So how many small independent owner operators, there's probably more of those guys than there are guys driving for corporations, which, where they're actually part of a union.
I think sometime like 10 years from now, it's supposed to be all electric. You can't have a gas.
Well, yeah, it's here. It says long-term truckers in California are not investing in new trucks because California law says they're all going to be outlawed by 2035, and they need to purchase electric trucks, which haven't even been invented yet.
Yeah. Great.
We have a tool truck that is diesel hybrid.
Yeah.
And we're starting. There's a guy in Ohio running around. I know Ohio or Tennessee. He's running around with one. But that was a big problem for a lot of our distributors because, like, I'm getting ready to go through a new renewal for my franchise, and the first thing they say is, you got to get a new truck. Well, there is no new trucks.
Right.
And, of course, they're like, it's bad enough I got this, this one, and I'm like, it's crazy, but right now there's such a huge surplus of parts for these trucks in California because they were all yanked off the road. One of our distributors just blew his motor up, called up California, had one that had, I don't know, 50, 60,000 miles on it. But because it was too old, he was able to get the whole damn truck for practically nothing other than costing it shipped over here.
Right.
But,
So here it says that CARB has begun blocking trucks' DMV registrations. Carriers domiciled in California with trucks older than 2011 models or using engines manufactured before 2010 will need to meet the board's new truck and bus regulation beginning in 2020, or their vehicles will be blocked from registration at DMV.
Nice.
And then they have their health-based requirements that are saying that the driver, before he's allowed to register the truck, has to be vaccinated and meet all of these crazy rules that California has. So basically, California's telling you, here you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
They don't want you to come in there unless you're going to play their little game with their air quality and health quality, and they've got the dumbest rules in the country. And they are single-handedly killing this country.
Mm-hmm. And they just voted that idiot back in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
Because I would have to say that probably 75% of the stuff that comes into this country is coming from Asia, and it's going to California.
And you know what? I heard something on the news here yesterday where they were saying they were thinking of redirecting ships through the Panama Canal to bring them over to the East Coast.
Yeah, do you know how long that's going to take?
In the port of New York. Yeah, but this way they're on the East Coast. At least they can get offloaded and,
Well, I think Florida governor just did something where he opened up the ports where you can get them in there.
Yeah. But we don't have a lot of ports. We've got Miami. We've got some
Right.
stuff over in
Which is
Fort
kind of
Lauderdale
ironic. We
area.
should have the most
We're not
coastline
really
out of
set up for that.
Yeah.
the most coastline out of any state in the continental USA. And
Yeah.
Right.
it's about
Yeah,
a
but
port.
what I don't understand, or what I don't look, if the labor union or the dock workers can't do it, or they don't have trucks, well, where the hell is our National Guard? Where's the Army? Let's get them in there. Let's unload the shit and get the stuff out.
That's why the highway system was developed, wasn't it? To move the troops.
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
like I said,
yeah,
we have
Eisenhower
natural
did.
disaster. We
Yep.
send them someplace. We send them over to a third world nation for 20 years to fuck around. Hey, why don't we send them here? Let's get them out. Let's get the shit out and let's get going. I don't understand.
Because you know why? Because you got Biden as the president.
No, you got
Okay.
people that because they already got their money. I mean, it's all
If there
about
was-
the money.
If there was somebody else that was a president, they would go straight to California and say, guess what? I'm putting in an executive order. I don't care that you're the governor. I'm wiping out your rules for the next 6 to 10 months because I need to jumpstart my country.
All right, Lewis's worst
That's-
nightmare is coming true right now.
That's what would be going on. But because we got a guy that sleeps all day and eats ice cream,
Let's go,
nothing
Brandon.
happens.
Well,
That's
just
real
to give some perspective on this, my father-in-law owns a small trucking company in Litchfield, Michigan. So I spend a lot of weekends with my wife out in his shop, and it's a small operation. Litchfield is a tiny dot on a map, probably about 2 hours from here in Detroit. So if you blink, you miss it. The closest thing there would be the Brembo North American Manufacturing Center in Homer. So they make a lot.
Nice.
They make all of the pads and rotors for regular cars, but for high performance vehicles like the Corvette and Mustang and Nissan GTR and all that stuff. So and he does haul for Brembo. He doesn't haul a lot of automotive stuff, but he does haul for Brembo. But his operation it's kind of a two-part operation. There's the trucking and then there's the truck service. So he has a small team of technicians that work in the shop. So all of the trucks in the area, diesel or HD trucks, he ends up servicing. But he doesn't buy new tractor trailers. He doesn't buy new semi trucks. He always tries to buy them a couple years older. Just because he just doesn't think the value is there, buy them brand new because they're so expensive, right? But I tell you this, it's a hard. My wife, her family's been in trucking for 50 years. Again, not a huge company, small company, but it has not been an easy 50 years for them to make a living in trucking. And my father-in-law works 7 days a week, so if he's not in the shop himself, he's out driving. I mean, he just, so it's, again, he's done well for himself, but he works more hours than just to keep the business afloat. He works more hours than anybody I've seen. And, he's talked about some of the rate, and I don't know all the regulations here, like in Michigan, but he's expressed a lot of displeasure lately with, trucking regulations, and that it's more bureaucratic, that people who are making the rules have never been behind a truck before. They have no comprehension of what's going on. So I hear these things that pop up, and I always talk to, like, that California thing. I'm going to ask my father-in-law, I'll be like, hey, what do you think of this?
Well, when I had my trucking company, I would stop at the border,
right,
and drop off whatever I was pulling, because the regulation started back in 2006.
Yep.
I think
Right.
that's when that new system came in, that new exhaust system on the trucks.
Yep.
Oh yeah, with the
Def.
Oh, def.
Yeah.
Yeah. Diesel
And
exhaust fluid.
everything starts in California. They started it there, and it worked their way across the country.
Sure.
But I would pull up there, and it'd be a truck. I mean, a gang of trucks just waiting to unload there because they didn't want to go to California. And
Yeah,
I'd
it was
drop my cars
crazy.
there.
Tuesday. No, what day was that? Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. My automatic regen, self regen, not automatic,
Mhm.
but the self regen came on. So the red light comes on, bells and whistles.
Shuts
So
you
I
down.
have to stop, pull over to the side of the road, self-regen, and it takes about 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Truck goes through, it idles up. So I got to stop and throughout my day now. I got to stop and do this. So I'm sitting there and I keep a little log just to kind of make sure, usually if you start regenning a lot, that means your filter's getting dirty and, you got to try to stay ahead of the game.
Can't you bypass that crap?
Nope.
Huh?
You can't bypass that crap?
No.
As a hot rod guy?
It's $10,000 a fine.
If they don't know, how are they going to fine you for it?
Oh, no, DOT.
So interesting enough. So I was a member of Chevy's national truck team for 5 years. Before that, I was a dealer trainer for Ford. So I was kind of in the middle of this for the HD trucks, for the Power Stroke and the Duramax, right? With the regen, right? Like if you are not the regen, sorry, the DEF, right? If you ignore the DEF, you start getting warnings. You can blow past the warnings, but after a while, the top speed is limited, the torque output is limited, basically all the way down until the vehicle just stops running. Right. So, and I don't I've never actually flirted with that line before, but in all of the product training that we did, and of course for Ford, I was doing dealer stuff, and with Chevrolet, I was doing consumer stuff. But in all of the literature I got from Ford and GM, it was all that. So to the dealer people, when we were training the dealer people, it was like, hey, tell your customers they might be able to go for a little while without DEF, but eventually that truck's top speed's going to start being limited. It's going to start shutting down. And I think
30 miles.
Yep. I'm pretty sure it's the same on the little ones, like the little Colorado and the small ones like that too.
See, that's why you need to find these young kids, these punks these gamers, they mess with computers all day long.
They plug in now, John.
The same people
plug in now.
Right. Okay. But what I'm saying is you need these kids with this crazy brains that do all of this stuff on the dark net and know how to really get in and reprogram stuff and figure out how to program these computers to bypass it. And when the DOT plugs in, it comes out all kinds of happy bells and whistles and posies and flowers. And they're like, oh, okay, you're good. And the thing just never regens ever. And it just runs like an old truck.
So here's a controversial topic floating around the automotive industry. And maybe it's good I bring this up. But, at that point, when you're talking that there's so many algorithms and there's so many computers in a modern vehicle, whether that's the infotainment, connectivity, advanced safety, in this case, powertrain technology, if you mess with that or try to fix it on your own,
it goes on to another.
Do you violate intellectual property? Do you violate the automaker's intellectual property? This is a controversial topic, right? Which puts small mechanics and small shops, which is something we've never quite seen. Now, to my knowledge, no automaker has pursued that, but that conversation floats around every now and again.
No, that's why like Daimler-Benz, Chrysler, Jeep, Fiat, Toyota's looking at it now. Lexus is almost there. Ford is almost there. What they have is, I'll think of the name in a minute, but it's a gateway system.
Yep.
And now you have to register your scanner into another site, another business, and they keep track, and you're leaving your footprint, what you're doing. Because of what happened back in when Chrysler first came out with the gateway, somebody figured out how to get into the back door. And what happened was the car had that anti-stop or, automatic stop and lane control.
Yeah.
The guy picked the car up. Guy picked the car up from the body shop, went down the road, crashed the car, and I don't know if somebody died or something happened, but somebody got in on the back side and did that. And that's when it got really, really so from like 2016 till just recently, everybody had a hard time getting in on a newer car, getting into with their scanners. And now they have this program, it's a subscription into another place that keeps an eye. Because once you mess, and that's what I did originally with my truck, and I was down for 7 weeks. because I kept trying to monkey around the system. Right. And it had basically, once you get to the third and final regen where it was top speed was 5 miles an hour. Now I can unplug the speed sensor and I can get it up to about 25, but then it compromised other things in the transmission because it couldn't see what was going on.
Right.
So it does piggyback on other things. So once it's just like a snowball effect. And but the funny part about, like I said, when I was sitting there in the parking lot regenning, I had a lady come over, knock on the side of the door, and tell me that I was irritating her, that my truck was idling too loud. And I said, well, I'm really sorry, ma'am, but I'm in the middle of regen. And she said, well, you can't, in Montgomery County, we have unloading laws. You know, you can't idle for more than 15 minutes or whatever.
Right. And yeah, my father-in-law talks about that too. But anyway, go on. Yeah.
She started, and I said, well, unfortunately, I'm exempt from that. She goes, well, why do you think you're exempt? And I said, well, I have heating and air conditioning in my box. And as the way the DOT puts it, I could have livestock. So us humans are livestock back here. And I got to make sure I have ventilation.
Right.
And so she goes, well, I'm calling the cops. And I said, go ahead. So 5 minutes later, a cop shows up. Hey, buddy, we got a call about your truck being out. I said, what do you want me to do, dude? This is because of the politics involved, and we got to keep the trees green, and we got to waste my time. I got to regen, and I can't move the truck. I said, I'll show you, but then I had to start all over again.
Right.
So,
yeah,
it's
so
I honestly think the manufacturers of automobiles want to eliminate the independents, and everything is totally sealed. Everything's under their control. Everything is monitored through the cloud on your vehicle, what it's doing, where it is, the whole deal. And if the dealerships aren't large enough, I think what it's going to happen is they're going to wind up with authorized repair facilities where you're working for them. And you have the days of the mechanic, us, guys like us, is going to go away.
I mean, there you go. That's the right to repair law. You know, without the right to repair law,
SEMA,
then you're stuck with bringing your car back to the dealership. And that's why that fight is so important. John, let's just face it. You'll be able to drive those Pontiacs before you die. I'll be driving my Pontiac every time we start them. 5 Priuses will seize, and we'll be happy, and we'll go into Neverland, and it'll be over.
But you worry about the people in Washington, D.C., how they want to bring in all of this electric stuff, yet there's millions and millions of diesel and gas cars. And this dude, if he would love to just turn the tap off totally and say, oh, guess what? As of Tuesday, gasoline is now banned in this country. So figure it out. I swear to God, that's how this guy thinks.
Well, the SEMA organization is fighting real hard in Washington for the independence and all of this stuff we're talking about, because there's
I'm a member, and they
pass.
fully support stuff like this. But it's ridiculous.
It all leads back to money, because to get it locked down, then have to spend the money to get what you need. Where you can't work on it, you can't buy a rent car.
They're looking to kill people, and you know, if it's a money thing. They're making money. They're making money off of gas. They're making money off of oil. They're making money off of diesel. They're making money off of the parts. Really? What do you got to do? Why do you need to be this way?
For the
control. Never enough.
For the control.
Power.
Never enough.
Control all you want. You know what I'm saying? Take your millions that you made being a congressman for 30 freaking years and go buy yourself a fucking island somewhere. Go away. Leave everybody else alone.
They're addicted to the power. They're not leaving until they go out feet first. I mean, some of them already have.
You know what's going to happen? This country's going to see a civil war that they never saw before, and the enemy is going to be everybody that's a politician, and it's going to be brutal. It's going to happen.
So politics,
we got Muhammad Ali in the house.
Politics aside, Carl, you guys just did a Carmax survey on what tech features people want in new cars.
Yeah, and Surprisingly, all of kind of the usual players were in there. In fact, I'm pulling up the chart here. So, yeah, Carmax did a survey. What features do you use on a regular basis? And obviously usual players. Power seats, power locks, power windows. I've got the chart pulled up right here. But incidentally, this I thought was interesting. So, all of the automakers today, they're all promoting Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, right? In CarMax's survey, that was actually one of the least used features. Out of everybody they surveyed, only about
Really?
9% said that they actually used Apple CarPlay, or that it would be one of their most desirable features. So,
Are those the people that don't use it? Or are they the people that still put their phone on Bluetooth?
yeah. Now here's the interesting thing, right? In the Carmax survey, Bluetooth was one of the top must-have features, as long as there's Bluetooth compatibility. The Carmax also said, okay, it was a kind of a two-part survey. So what features do you have now that you use the most? And then if you were to buy a new vehicle, what features must you absolutely have to have? And Bluetooth was top in both of those. I use it now. I've got it now. I use it, but I absolutely have to have it in my next vehicle.
See, and Bluetooth has so many problems. Whereas Apple the first thing I do when I get in my truck, I plug my phone in. I have Apple, and you fire it up. That CarPlay comes in, and everything is done voice control. A text message comes in, I can hear the text message, and then she asks me, do you want to answer the message? And I'm concentrating on driving, and I just talk, and it goes right through, done deal. Telephone call comes in, I hit the button on the steering wheel, I answer the phone call. If I need to call somebody, my call list of recent calls is there, or I tell her, bring up my contact list, call Ray. And I never use Bluetooth. It's hardwired. It keeps my phone charged 100%. It's hardwired. It's perfect audio. There's no Bluetooth dropouts. Bluetooth is like, I don't know. Bluetooth is like the cassette tape. They need to get rid of it.
Yeah, and like in this survey, Bluetooth being top of the list, but but obviously, a lot of the stuff the automakers promote. So incidentally, Android Auto, but all the safety features, like the advanced safety features that automakers promote, those are all near the top of the list. So blind spot monitoring was the only one that broke 30%. All the other ones, like lane departure warning, adaptive cruise control, they were like 20%. So again, all these advanced safety features that automakers are really pushing for and really marketing, all of these vehicles now are standard with a whole suite of advanced safety featers. In this CarMax survey, seems like people were kind of lukewarm to them, like kind of take it or leave it.
I'll tell you something I had in my Mazda that I think and I'm pissed that I don't have it now, and every car in the world should have it mandatory, and it's rain sensing wipers.
Yes.
They come on and activate. I mean, a friend told me about it, that he had in his BMW back in the early 2000s, and not that I didn't believe him. I had to see it to believe it. I got them in my car, and what he said was true. I actually caught myself. My brain said, go for the wipers. And before my hand could even move, they were on, like full speed.
Yes.
Jesus, it works. It really works.
That's one of the best inventions that ever came out.
Now, that's something that should be mandatory in every car.
Right.
Yep.
No.
And then the other thing is somebody needs to find out what secret rubber combination Mercedes-Benz uses in their wipers.
Oh, yeah?
You can't wear out a Mercedes-Benz windshield wiper. Don't ask me.
What's that? Well,
here in Florida, we get a lot of rain. You know that.
Yeah,
okay?
right.
And my wife's lease is a 3-year lease, and her windshield wipers don't stutter. They don't streak. They clean crystal clear. At the last day when she's getting rid of the car, they still work. So it's either a combination of what they're using for glass and what they're using for their wiper blades, but they've got the corner marketed. You put them on, and you never have to change them.
I'll tell you this: you said you're on the money with the glass. The flatter and truer the glass is, the better the wiper work. But something that a lot of people overlook is, because they don't have any control over it, is the actual control of the wiper transmission and the arm tension. And Mercedes probably has a better system and more quality than other manufacturers. But the rubber, I would think they'd be using Bosch as a factory fill on their blades.
Maybe.
I've used Bosch, and they are good blades.
I have Bosch blades on my GMC, but they wear out. They don't last forever.
What do you guys think of RainX? And I don't have a dog in this fight. So
RainX is good stuff.
You like RainX?
Yeah.
RainX and Fogix.
I used to use it years ago, and then I haven't used it in many years. I just started using it again. I put it on my Pontiac, but it's not the same formulation that it used to be. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even get the same bottle. It was it was definitely a different formulation. You'd put it on. I found that, here's my tip. They say put it on in a circular motion, let it haze, and then reapply it, the second coat, and then use a damp towel, damp wipe it, and then dry it. That was the old recommendation. Now I think it's just one coat. But I found through using it, if I did small swirls, you got a lot of small dots. But I found by one time, I was lazy, and I did really big swirls.
Right.
That was the way to go, because the water now hit the window, conglomerated faster into bigger globs, and flew off. So that was just an application tip that I found. But
they make it that you put in your
the wash fluid, not the same.
Yeah.
And the wipers, I used their wipers too one time and wasn't 100% happy. I got like a little after streak with them. I wasn't 100% happy.
See, that's good
helps
to know.
with the bugs that we get on the windshield down here.
Oh yeah.
That I can.
We get these swarms twice a year, and it's ridiculous.
I'm curious, and I see Justin here in the chat says he's had good luck with RainX. And part of the reason why I ask is because last weekend I republished an article, one we did with Advanced Auto Parts. Check these 5 things on your vehicle before winter, right? So it's kind of like a mid-winter maintenance guide. It's all the usual stuff, right? Check your oil, you know what I mean? Take a look at your serpentine belt, like all the things you would check before winter. Well, obviously one of them is wipers. And so
pinion tension.
Looking through Advanced Auto Parts, like RainX seems to be the highest quality wiper blade that they carry. So that's what I linked to. That's what I featured in the article. But I haven't had a set of RainX blades in a long time, so I was just curious if they were still,
talking about wiper blades, I'll tell you the design that I like the best is the beam style.
Yeah,
I had a set for my Mazda, and I think I got them by accident because they didn't have 2. Now everything is 2 different sizes for passenger, and except my FJ, which has 3. Actually, there's 3 wipers in the front. 2 of them are 15s, and one's a 14, I think.
Right.
They're tiny. But anyway, I bought those beam style on a whim. I said, okay, let me try it. And they were actually Fomoco wipers. And I said, all right, I'll give it a shot. I put them on the car, and they lasted the longest of any wiper I had on that car to date. And they were fantastic. I really, really liked them. But now I'm trying to get the beam style for everything.
Right. Where did you get those, Ray?
At the local auto parts store by my house.
Yeah, of course.
Back in the day at the German dealership, one of our things and long lasting for rubber and cleaning windshields was Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Miami, yeah.
Yeah, and Miami's really good, and I've had tons of people
used to using this stuff right here.
Yep, I got a whole bunch of that stuff.
Autobahn.
The Miami, or if you could find, sometimes was that a bartender's best friend?
Barkeeper's friend, yes.
Yeah, barkeeper's friend.
Yeah,
that stuff is very, very good. And cleaning the glass, it takes everything off. It does not scratch, will not harm, and it also. That was one of our things. Like we said, we actually had a mixture of that stuff. And when the car came in for service, we always cleaned the windshields down because you get all kinds of oils and greases and sap and stuff like that from on the road. And
That's easy on a 911. Try doing that when you got to work on SUVs all day with the giant windshields.
Wow, you just got to grow a little bit, Ray.
No, but, yeah, right. No, actually, I was just doing that. I just cleaned the windows on the FJ, and to get the center of the windshield, I can't reach it. The truck is tall. But I stood on a running board and I got it. But that barkeeper's friend, someone just asked me that fairly recently.
Good for your symbols.
Yeah, right. No, I maybe it was it might have been what's his name? Who's not here tonight? From Boston. Scott. Thank you, Scott. Yeah. I think Scott asked that. He was talking about hard water. And I told barkeeper's friend because it breaks down that calcium.
Barkeeper's really good. Great for shining up your Zildjian symbols.
Yeah.
Those
dark rides or those minels that are real like fire forged and half black.
Where do you get that at?
Supermarket.
Home Depot.
Yeah, you get it anywhere.
Home Depot sells it.
Yes.
Home Depot, but like your mom and pop or Ace Hardwares, you can get your best deal on that stuff or find it.
Well, do like I do. Just go to a bar and say, "Hey, can I have that half a can of barkeeper's friend? I'll be your friend."
They sell it. They sell it in the supermarket here.
Yeah,
it's in the grocery store.
In the cleaning aisle.
Yeah. Yep.
So not to stir the pot anymore, but what do you guys think? Turtle Wax, Armor All. What's your preference? Which one's
Turtle
the best?
Wax? I don't like Armor All.
You don't like Armor All?
No.
For what?
Turtle Wax has been around.
So
forever.
yeah, let me clarify, Ray. Just in general, just in general. I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm just curious because I've used Armor All, I've used Turtle Wax, I've used Barrett Jackson stuff, but
Mcguire's.
Seems like Turtle Wax is my favorite just all around, but it's curious to stir the pot a little bit and get everybody's thoughts.
I use Mcguire's and Mother's.
Yeah, I forgot.
They're both good.
Mothers, they're both
good. I use Mcguire's.
I use Armor All products. I'm looking at my shelf. I got a bunch of stuff.
I kind of got turned off with Armor All because it dries out like leather and stuff when you use it on the interior.
And
yes,
you
it does.
Use it on the moldings. Oh no, I'm sorry.
I use Voodoo.
I just read something about that, and I think they said you should use Armor All on your weather strip. That's when it should be used on the weather strip, but not on the. They don't recommend it on the dashes or whatever. But I use a product that I get at the motorcycle shop. What the hell's the name of it? I have to go and get the. I have to go next door and get the bottle. It conditions black plastic, and it was made for motorcycle engines that have black paint. But I use it on anything that's black plastic. I did the whole interior FJ. I did my wife's car. I actually did as an experiment all the. I have those plastic wheel well opening moldings and the big moldings on the bottom of the doors. All that plastic stuff that was turning white. I used this stuff on that, and it worked like a charm. And I'll have to show it to you.
Yeah. I've always been curious. I haven't, I tend to gravitate towards Turtle Wax, but I have used, like I said, Barrett Jackson. I've used Mcguire stuff before too, and I know the Mother's is pretty high quality too. Yeah,
WD-40 will clean anything. It'll take care of your arthritis. It'll clean the black. That's the.
Yes, same with
we
brake
used to
cleaner,
buy
man.
big spray cans of WD-40 at the chassis shop.
Yes.
That stuff takes the rubber right off the body when you're doing burnouts. You get a drag car comes in and the quarter panels are covered in rubber. You spray that stuff and it melts it.
We used to Friday night we would coat the quarter panels down with WD-40 and go out and the stuff just fall right off. Never had a problem.
Yeah.
Reminds me of brake cleaner when we had that at the Express Lube and in the shop at the dealership like about 10 years ago. And I was there. We had it in the cans, big red can, and it would spray out. That stuff was amazing. Like,
And that's what they use to shine your engine. When you open up you go to car show and see the engine all nice and shiny, they just spray WD-40 right on that engine. That's it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the used car market special.
Right.
Yep.
We just did $5,000 worth of engine work. That's like my transmission shop that rebuilds transmissions. They go down to the junkyard Get a transmission and a can of silver spray paint. Rebuilt. $49.95 outdoor.
Right.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Unbelievable.
Tricks of the trade.
When I was working for
WD-40.
a Lincoln Mercury dealership, and I was in new car prep and also some of the used car stuff.
Right.
What we would do to make it easier to get a used car to shine up real well is we would actually use, like that stuff that you sell that cleans the white walls, bleach white.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So they would get that stuff like that in industrial 55-gallon drums.
Sure.
Put it in, pour that stuff into one of those pump-up sprayers, and literally spray the body with that like bleach stuff.
Right.
And then wash the car, and the car would come out flat and dull. It would literally strip off anything that was on the paint. And then they would go in and put a spray wax and give it a buff, and the car would look like you spent 6 hours compounding and polishing, and you'd put it out on the used car line.
There you go.
So you strip them first and then wax them.
Right.
So
So
here you go. This is a new formulation.
there's the Rainex there.
And they also have this. It's Rainex 2-in-1 glass cleaner. So this has Rainex built into the cleaner. I used it. I got to use it again. It's cleaner and rain repellent. I don't know. Jury's still out on that one. But now we can all go and now we need a drink because here you go, Louis. This is your bar.
Oh,
here.
There you go. There you go.
It's like a can of Ajax. That's the stuff.
yeah, I
Look in
remember
the
seeing that.
supermarket first. You'll see that stuff.
I also found out from my buddy who's a glass guy. He's been doing glass for 40 years. This is one of the best glass cleaners to use on all your cars.
No ammonia.
Stuff. And they do sell this at Home Depot. The one by me, they do.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's the best. I think it's ammonia free. That's why.
Yeah.
Ammonia.
It's on tinted windows, but it doesn't. Ammonia does some funky things with glass.
We use
Yeah,
that
that's why you
on
need to take the tin
all-
off. You use
on all
ammonia to
the-
take the tin off.
Yeah.
Fritz.
It breaks the glue up.
And then, of course, Rainex. I didn't know I was going to do product reviews here tonight, but I actually had a Rainex sitting right there. And this is the stuff for plastic. It's made by this company called S100. Louis, this is a motorcycle product. So wherever you go, your bike stuff, it's called Engine Brightener. But this is they marketed it for engines that were black engines on motorcycles. But like I said, I started using it on black plastic because my BMW has a full fairing with all black inners, and it made that black pop, and it lasts. It stays a long time. And now I did the whole outside, like I said, the outside of the FJ. This is a phenomenal product right here. Anything S100 makes, I like. So.
See, Ray never really tells anybody, but behind that motor mouth banner is really a complete advanced auto parts store.
It's a store. Yeah, I got like the auto parts store right behind me.
Yeah. He sneaks around and he goes to the shelf.
Yeah.
He's got batteries. He's got starters, alternators,
I got
calipers, clutches,
Magazines.
tires.
Ray's got a ton of old magazines too.
Hot wheels.
Yes.
They're all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got them all.
And you know what? He shares too. He'll send you a magazine or a book in a second.
If you guys want to help me move, I'll be happy to.
There has been many a playing and traffic show where we've gotten on the topic of magazine, and Ray's like, "Hey, I got it right here."
Right? Just opens up the drawer. And boom! There it is.
Hey, this is the issue, right, guys?
Yeah.
I actually have the issue that Chassis John is in. I have the. I got the issue with his car. That was
Which one? There was a couple of different ones.
I have it here somewhere, but
You got the black one from Popular Hot Rodding?
I think it's probably the Popular Hot Rodding. Yeah.
I know that I'm in my remote location.
Yeah.
But look, I do have my wiper blades.
All right.
There you go.
For the money and the time, believe it or not, the Windex ones work the best.
Really?
Windex. I have
Windex.
never.
I didn't even know they made them.
No. I didn't either.
And because sitting in the sun, sitting on the cab over in the tool truck, and how big that glass is, everything that I've ever bought, like 30 days and they're wiped out.
Wow.
You know? And I found these Windex and they last almost 3 to 4 months.
What size wipers do you need on a truck, Brian?
19s.
Oh, that's not that big. My mom's
And
one.
of course, can't go anywhere without my WD-40.
Well, that's how you clean screwdrivers. I found out that's how you clean the plastic screwdriver
This
handles.
cleans
And
great
plywood.
on toolboxes. That's what I'm just getting ready to do to clean this up.
Liquid wrench.
There we go. Yeah.
Louis, we got to start getting some product paybacks here. We need
Yeah.
Oh, I know. This
No
whole hour,
kidding.
Lewis, man, you should be getting a check.
I need to make a call.
we always use Startron fuel additive, the enzyme fuel additive in our cars. We use this in everything.
Hey, I don't have no auto parts stuff here.
Yeah, I don't have anything either.
You gotta have that stuff.
I got nothing. I got.
And I don't have a good source of books, but we do have our vintage spec guide.
Oh, nice.
See?
Yeah,
I
what about
gotta just grab
GoPro?
something here to keep up. There, GoPro.
GoPro, right? All right.
All right.
One of
A
the
little
best
bit of race
things I
car stuff,
ever
too.
bought.
Oh, dielectric grease. Yeah, that stuff is, you got to have that if you're doing anything
I'll
electronic.
do a radar detector. So I'll do an Escort Max 360
There you
radar
go.
detector. As long as we're
Sweet.
hawking
Hey,
products.
I'm going to jump to a different situation. A
do you got?
guy
What
that I work
what do you
with,
got?
he's trading
That's a
his
difference.
70 Monte Carlo
Ooh,
for a 39 Plymouth Coupe.
don't do it. Don't,
Business
don't-
coupe?
Yeah, I sent the pictures to you, right? Did you get them?
Let's see here. Yeah.
My dad had a 39 business coupe.
Wow, that's a big car.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he's going
Seven-
back and forth if he should trade for it. Now
For
this
a
car
70
has
Monte
a
Carlo, you keep that Monte Carlo.
See, that's what I'm saying. You keep the Monte
Yeah.
Carlo. That's a no-brainer.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what? This car doesn't have, it's got a sheet metal dash in it.
Mhm.
And I can see how's the Monte set up? Is it a 402 car? Is it a big block?
I don't think so.
Turn the phone.
It turns every time I turn it.
Clean.
Other way.
Other way.
Other way. Other. Oh,
Hey,
there you go.
Stop.
He keeps
Oh.
turning. It won't.
Yeah.
It won't stay.
right.
That's a nice Monte. I keep that Monte.
I would keep the Monte.
I would
That's
say
one.
keep the Monte, yeah.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
my
because
vote.
this
Nice
car.
Monte. That's a blue Monte with a black vinyl.
My reason
put
for
a cal
keeping the
hood on
Monte-
it, I'll let anything so quick.
I would keep the
Yeah.
Monte because I don't like those big fat old cars. So
Louis,
No.
your friend, has he sat in the 36 yet?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
But see,
okay.
I think he's getting like this car has a lot of like they turned it into a race car, and it has a
Okay.
350 in it, older 350, but it needs work. And I think he in his mind he's thinking it's a 39, so he wants to try to go to different style.
It's got
the
value. but I'm
Monte
gonna-
is like a race car.
no,
No,
it's
no,
very
the
mine. But I'll tell you
39.
this. I'll tell you this. As unqualified as I am to make the statement, the 39 with the sheet metal and an older 350 in it ain't no race car.
Nope.
Yeah,
It's not.
yeah.
Right.
You know,
It's an old gasser style.
it's
hot
not even a
rod.
gasser. It looks like it's got stock suspension. I mean, it may be loud. It may sound like it's fast, but I'm sure it's not fast.
And it's heavy.
If you're
Yeah.
into old stuff like that, then yeah, what the hell? But
At the end of the day, it's his car. But I'm telling you
Right.
right now, he's gonna miss
Monte.
that Monte because
Does
that car's not gonna ride like that Monte. That car's
No,
gonna be
well,
the nasty.
Does he know what would the guy sell the 39 for outward? What would his sale price be? You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. He didn't say.
I mean, if this is his dream car to have a 39 and he just happens
No,
to
it's
have
not.
a Monte,
He
It's
flips
not?
cars.
Okay.
no,
Yeah,
I
he
would
flips.
flip that Monte.
That's not an easy flip.
That Monte's a
Yeah,
rare
but it's-
car. It's a one-off.
is there a market for these 39s?
Well, there is. The Monte is an easy flip any day of the week, any town in the country. That
Yeah.
39 is not as easy of a flip. I mean, that's a good car to take down south. That's like an old rum runner car. You know?
And the 70 Monte is the most desirable one out of the 70, 71, 72.
See, that's right.
Because it's only year it had the little indicator, around indicator. All the other years it had the indicators in the grill.
Yeah.
I keep that Monte in a second. Ask him how much he wants for the Monte.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You don't need another project.
We'll trade him in products.
Sure
We
he
have enough.
does.
We have enough products to just bring a tractor trailer to his house.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's what I needed to hear. Just your opinions.
Speaking of that, let's segue again. We're going to do the rest of the segues. Carl, what is this new app you're talking about? This pedal thing to sell your car. What's that all about?
Yeah. So there are services. There's two services that we have reviewed: Pedal and Wheelsy, right? And they are the sell your car in a hurry type scenarios. So far, I spoke with both of them personally, like before I wrote my reviews on them, interfaced with them over emails or talked over like video conferencing and things like that. Good service, really good service, good customer service. The only thing about selling your car, though, to services like that is that you're not going to get as much money if you were to do private selling or even if you were to trade it in at a dealership. So these types of services, Pedal and Wheelsy, based on my experience and similar services, they work really good if you got to get rid of a car in a hurry or if you have an old clunker and you just figure nobody's going to buy it, or if you don't want to mess around like with trying to sell it. And basically what you do is you need to have a clean title, but you go online to either one of those sites and then you put in some information about your car, right?
Title to the car I'm trying to sell.
Gotcha. So you put in all your information. They call you, or I think they call you and email you within like 24 hours. They give you a quote. If you accept the quote, they basically come, they pick it up, they contract with a shipping company in your area. They come, they pick it up. If they don't give you the check on the spot, they'll mail it to you. And so great question, Justin. Are those services for all cars or just new and old cars? So here's the kicker. My experience here only, so take with a grain of salt. They are for old cars, but let's say that you had like a 2019, or a 2018 with maybe 30 or 40,000 miles on it. You're probably better to sell that outright than you are to one of these services because you'll get more money for it, right? In the review that I did, I actually did some Kelley Blue Book and NADA comparisons based on the quotes that they had given me for kind of like some dummy cars, right? I think like a Toyota Corolla I used or something like that, or a Toyota Camry. So the newer the car, you generally either want to trade it in at the dealership or just sell it outright because you'll just end up getting more money for it. Let me actually look up what car I used in that.
Especially with the price
The fastest and easiest way is that yo-yo, gimmethevin.com.
Right.
That's Clay Wolf guy.
That's what that's what you said last week. And I have a car to sell with a clean title.
Mm-hmm.
The original owner. And I called a couple of those. Who did I dealt with two. I think I called Carvana.
Yep, that's another one. Yep.
It was like 2 or 3 of them. And I think another one I saw on Automoblog. Now, I also looked at the car. I did a Carfax on it. Carfax is telling me the car's worth like $4,000. Like, okay. Mm-hmm. So, get around 3 or something, 32, 30, whatever. It's got a couple flaws. But these places were offering me like $1,400, $1,200.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
It's gonna be lower. Like, and they're good for a junk car. They're good if you have to like sell it unexpectedly. So let me go through here. So here's one I did for Wheelsy. So when I did, and it's a service very similar to Pedal. I took a 2004 Toyota Corolla LE. This was my dummy car. 2000, and maybe Justin, this will help answer your question in the chat. So I took an 04 Toyota Corolla LE with 160,000 miles, and I had received $464. That was my cash offer from Wheelsy. So $500, right? Which seems about right. Comparison's sake, I ran it on Kelley Blue Book, and an average trade-in value was $1,577. Private party selling was $2,612. This is about a year ago I did this.
Yeah.
So there is quite a difference. I'm guessing that maybe on a trade-in value from a dealership, you're maybe at 1,000. You could be maybe even a little higher. So again, and I ran
like half a wholesale.
Yeah, honestly, you know what I mean? But again, like assuming that it's taken up space or you just don't want to deal with it, it can be a really good service for that. The only thing I found the difference between the two, and I'll post these on our Twitter page here, but Wheelsy and Pedal, they're very close in terms of like customer service based on the review that I did. The only difference is that Pedal is accredited by the Business Bureau and Better Business Bureau, and Wheelsy is not. Now, I don't necessarily know if that's a deal breaker. I don't know if that's the end of the world. But Pedal's Better Business Bureau accredited, Wheelsy's not. Like I said, I don't know if it makes a difference, but with these guides and reviews, we do try to go in, I try to go in as much as I can to try to give people some context, so I don't want to mislead anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's kind of the gist.
Those guys that buy ugly houses.
Right.
Give you a
Yeah, they
cash
figure they
offer.
wave enough cash in front of your face, you're going to take it.
Exactly.
Yeah, a lot of people will.
Yeah, people will, because it depends on the situation they're in. It's funny, we talk about this. I had to sell my wife's Monte Carlo. She had a 03 Monte SS and had all the options in it. Actually, it was a nice car. She's kind of disappointed. Something happened where it looks like it needs an intake gasket. It looks like oil got in the antifreeze. So the entire cooling system is all mud.
Right.
My mechanic was like, look, don't even bother. It's going to cost you too much money to fix it. So
3,800.
I'm sorry?
Was it the 3,800?
Was it 3.8 or 3.4? It was a 3.4. This car ran. I mean, it was a pretty good car. But it got to this point, it started overheating, so it wasn't worth anything anymore. I put it on Facebook Marketplace I put it on first for $2,000, then I dropped it to $1,500. Nothing.
Right.
Nothing. No responses whatsoever. I actually last week you guys mentioned give me the VIN. I went on there. They said $500. It was on Facebook, and there's a we buy junk cars. So I asked him, I was like, "What do you give me for this?" $500. Guy came, got it, gave me the $500 cash right then and there.
Right.
That was the best I could do.
Yeah.
Because I was even asking around. I got a buddy of mine. He's a mechanic for Tri-Borough Bridge and Tunnel Authority. He works on Palace. He's a mechanic there. He basically worked on their Impalas, when they had Impalas. Then they got some other. Then they got Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Jump. You throw them away.
Yep.
You get to one point, and that's it. You're done. Nobody wants them. They're not worth anything." So,
Right.
As nice as that car was, I had to let it go out the door for $500.
Mm-hmm.
Cars
I'd
are
have dropped another motor in it.
Yeah, that was the problem.
Yeah, I mean, and the one thing, like, we get, because with Automoblog, we get asked a lot, it's like, okay, what's better? Should I sell with one of these services? Should I trade in? Should I lease? Should I buy? Should I buy brand new? Should I buy used? Should I buy certified used? And what it kind of comes down to is, it's like, look, the car you're driving is going to cost you money no matter what. So it's like whatever type of depreciation you're most comfortable with. If you're going to buy brand new and that's your thing, totally cool. If you're more of a certified used, and it's like after a while, cars are expensive no matter what. And that's one thing, like in all like the news reporting that I do for Automoblog, because we cover new vehicle releases. I mean, just good example. So just today we posted an article about the new Lexus LX, the big SUV, the LX 600. I think top end for that, like top trim level, is $100,000 starting MSRP. So basic. So your basic. You know what I mean? Your basic SUVs are going to push 30.
70.
Yeah. I mean, so it's like, no matter what you're buying, even small sedans, small SUVs, they're high 30s to 40,000 a pop. Right. So it's no matter what you're driving nowadays, it's expensive.
Carl, did I see it on Automoblog or Autovision News? I just saw it today somewhere. They said that the average cost of a new car now is like $45,000.
Yes. Yep.
That's ridiculous.
Yep. So Cox Automotive did a study in 2018, and I think this is the most recent available data, but that the average new car payment was $500 a month, and that's the highest it's ever been in history.
Oh, yeah.
That was my mortgage on my first house
Yep.
in Queens. It was
Yep.
$480 a month.
Yeah. And I actually think I can find that study. I think I still have it on my computer. But yes, that was the first time in history it had ever been that high. Like, it was something, and I think the Cox Automotive study was like, it's like the median household income, 10% of what the median household income is just to make the payment. That's not even to put gas in it. That's not to maintenance it. That's not to put wipers on the thing, right? It's just to make the lease payment or just to make the monthly payment.
Exactly.
You don't have to worry about me getting a new one.
Yeah.
That's what they make duct tape for.
Right. And here's the thing. Like, I mean, I don't, again, like I don't mean to be cynical. I don't have a dog in the fight. It's just like, we publish week in, week out. We're publishing, new vehicle releases and when they're going to be available and what the equipment is and what the packages are and what the trim levels are. And I'm telling you, they just, every year, it just seems like they just creep up in price. And
of course,
but you know what? They're selling them though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
These trucks and SUVs, like, and they're commanding a premium, but they're selling them. Somebody somewhere is buying them, and here's the thing. Like, if you look at and again, I'm not picking on any automakers here, because this is every one of them. It's like when you read their press release and you look at these new vehicles that we're reporting on and we're publishing on Automoblog, it's like there's not even a chip shortage at all. The automakers are like, it's going to be here next year, going to be here in December, going to be here in the spring, already available now, already available for orders now. So it's like you hear everything in the news about the chip shortage and vehicle shortage. But if you look at the marketing and media relations of these automakers, they're like, nope, everything's on schedule. Everything's on schedule.
Yeah. They have to.
They have to.
That's called a spin.
Wait, Carl,
but the media is always 2-3 months out anyway.
Right.
I mean,
Hey, some media is right on the pulse of the automotive happenings. Come on, Brian, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Hey, Carl, here's a question that we had mentioned.
He has answers.
I think last week we talked about this.
But he has answers.
Right. What do you got? What do
you think about the vehicles that are sitting on lots right now without the chip, the 2001s?
Yeah, what are they going to do with those?
What are they going to do with those? Like, have you heard if they're going to cut the prices or, what do you think?
I have not heard that. Here's my perspective on this. If a car is missing anything, they technically can't be sold, right? Mm-hmm. Like there's nothing they can do because some component of it's not going to work, right? And this is something I saw when I worked for Ford, when I worked in product development. Whenever a winter storm would come through, it would slow down manufacturing plants here because they were waiting on parts because trucks couldn't get here, right? Mm-hmm. So you look at a massive facility like Dearborn Truck, right? Which is where I spent a ton of time. We always were at Dearborn Truck. New F-150 rolls off the line every 30 seconds, give or take, right? If there's even the smallest component, that assembly line stops because you cannot build a high-level King Ranch or Platinum truck that is a $60,000 rig or $70,000 rig now or whatever it is. You can't.
100,000.
Right. So it's sort of like if it's because there's so much connectivity, so that's your navigation, the Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay that we're talking about, because there's so many touch screens, because there's so many computers that govern the powertrain, govern the, twin independent variable cam timing, because there's so many advanced safety features. If you don't have one of those critical semiconductors, then something on that vehicle is not going to function, right? And for like trucks, like it could be like a high level GMC truck, like a Sierra Denali or an F-150 Platinum. It might be power running boards, right? So it's like there's an element that controls those power running boards when you open and close the door. You don't have that component; those power running boards don't deploy, right? So it's like and here's the thing, when you study the marketing arms of these automakers, this is all the stuff they're pushing, right? Because this is the stuff I see every day. These are the features that they're really trying to sell. They all require computer chips. So it's almost like, how do you sell a vehicle if those features are not going to be available to a customer? I don't know what they would do. Maybe they would discount them. I don't know.
Well, no, my question is, after they get the new chips in and the new year kicks over.
Oh, so my fault there. Here's what I think. No, I don't think they sell them at a discount. And here's why. Because for so long, automakers have thrown, especially American manufacturers, trucks and SUVs, they've thrown so many incentives on the hood. You see Ram doing this all the time. This is how Ram took over Chevy, right, as far as sales, because they've got so many incentives on the hood, so many factory rebates, 84 months financing, right? Well, with this shortage of vehicles, automakers don't have to do that anymore. So they're actually making more money, right, per vehicle sold, even though there's a shortage. So my thought is, and again, just my thought here, grain of salt, but once you get the chips, get the parts back in, get them on the lot. And here's the thing: if none of the automakers play the incentive race, then you know what I mean? Like, if Ford doesn't do it, GM won't do it, Chrysler won't do it, right?
Yeah, but technically, at this time of year, the 2022s should
Correct.
be in the showrooms.
Correct.
So you've got a couple of 100,000 vehicles that are VIN tagged 2021. They're titled 2021. So what are they going to do with these things when we got 100,000 of them that now run?
Right. So the thing is that the warranty, even though they'd be 2021, the warranty doesn't start until the in-service date.
Yeah, they're still sold as new cars.
So they'll still technically sell them as brand new based on that. But
it's like selling new old stock,
more or less. Yep. But again, it's like, and you're right, because you're at that time of year, fall rebates, winter rebates, where it's like, look, and we did this every year, right? Okay, you got the rebates coming for Thanksgiving, you got the rebates coming for Black Friday, for holidays, right? Everybody's making that push, and it's like, but I don't necessarily think automakers are thrilled about offering so many incentives. So this chip shortage allows them to make more money per vehicle. And on trucks and SUVs, where they're already making a premium, the less they discount, which is why you kind of see things like Ford is doing right now, where they're going to go through and they're going to refine their manufacturing process to where they're trying to build relative to what the customer demand is. They're going to try to dial that in a lot more, so their manufacturing is going to be more precise, right? And the more precise that is, but again, it's one of those things where everybody's in a race, right? So, if GM ups the horsepower, Ford's got to up the horsepower. And it's the opposite it's the same with incentives. Okay. Ford's going to drop out an extra rebate. GM and Ram got to do it. Right. But if none of them move after this, none of them move to throw out the incentives, then,
Do you think that they will hold off or greatly slow down production on 2022s and offer them like when GM had those strikes and this thing here, 70 was actually built in February. So they were 70 and a half limited year. So they can move old stock out and actually produce less of the 22s so they can kind of catch up. So when 23 comes, they're kind of rolling back to the way they used to be.
Right. I think that's possible. I think another thing you're going to start seeing, though, is that, and we kind of talked about it earlier, is that most everything in Detroit here is moving towards electrification. It's moving towards battery, right? Now, where that is going to play in and how that's going to affect things, but Ford and GM are on that pretty heavy. And actually, just within the last month, both Ford and GM have made, well, Ford's got that whole new battery campus they're doing down in Tennessee now. GM just opened a new facility here or announced. So it's like that plays into it too. And I don't exactly know how, but that's part of it, right? So it's like the vehicles that are short now, gasoline vehicles.
I have two thoughts about what you're saying, Carl. And the first one ties into what Lewis and John were thinking. However many thousands of 2021s are sitting there unsold. When they do get sold, let's say it's January or February, and X amount of people buy them, that X amount of people are now not looking for 2022s. They've already bought their truck. So what are they going to produce? Why is the assembly line going to run? They're going to have now a glut of trucks that, they'll be behind themselves with what they're going to, they'll overstock themselves. So now the assembly line workers are not needed. So this problem may not end with those trucks being released.
And don't piss off the UAW.
Well, yeah, exactly. And
we've never seen anything like this, but I mean, I've been in the automotive business for 12 going on 13 years. I've never seen anything like this. And I started in the automotive business, and then a few months later, GM and Chrysler filed bankruptcy. So this isn't my first vehicle shortage. I mean, I was really green the first time around, but this is a vehicle, like it's just not just vehicle shortage. It's not just like one automaker. It's everybody. And it's like you're saying, right? It's like this ripple effect. Well, what happens if this, because if everybody buys a slew of 2021 vehicles, then they're good. They're
not buying 22s.
They're not buying 2022s.
To your other point, I just came across a story about the new 2022 Ford Maverick.
Yeah.
Which is an electric SUV.
Yes.
It's a hybrid. They have a hybrid version. It's 191 horsepower, and they do have an EcoBoost engine version. It's the cheapest hybrid in America right now at $19,995.
Yes.
Okay. Unbelievable. Room for 4. They said 5 if you're really friendly. You could squeeze 5 in. It's got 33 cubic feet of cargo space. The 2-liter EcoBoost with the 8-speed automatic, less mileage, of course, than the hybrid.
Sure.
That's the optional equipment. And the interesting is the full hybrid version will tow a 2,000-pound load. The gas engine will tow 4,000 pounds. So the torque is obviously better, which I'm surprised at, because you would think the torque would be there for the electric motor. And it's going to be out in 3 trim packages: the Base XL, the XLT, and the Lariat, which is the top of the line.
Yep.
It says it shares the platform with the Escape and the Bronco Sport from the B-pillar forward. So they redesigned that. And they said it looks like kind of like a tough truck from the front, but it doesn't. I only saw a picture of it from the front. It doesn't. It doesn't carry the boxy thing through the whole design. But they're committed to this electric vehicle. And again, bringing back the old name, bringing back the Maverick. So, instead of seeing the nice little 2-door.
Maverick was a 2-door car.
It was a car, right? I know.
And
that's kind of like that Ford, with that, what is it, that Mach or something like that. That it makes you think it's a Mustang, but it's not. It's a Ford Focus. Yeah, it's a Ford Focus.
Right. But like I said, and I mean, I don't have a dog in this fight. As far as Automoblog goes, we're going to report the news about cars. We're going to put the information out there. But it's like, guys, it's all heading that way. I mean, I don't see I don't see it going back to internal combustion. Now, that does not mean the car culture is dying. That doesn't mean that at all. That just means that within the next 10 years, if you're going to buy a new vehicle, the odds of it being electric or at least plug-in hybrid are very high. But I don't see, especially in Detroit, for crying. I mean, just last month, I went to the Old Car Festival. It's literally what it's called, the Hagerty Old Car Festival at Greenfield Village. And nothing there on display is like newer than like 1930. And we're talking pristine cars, so it's like again, electrification, but the car culture, I think it's going to stay put. I think it's going to stay alive and well. And that Old Car Festival that Hagerty had out there all through Greenfield Village, I mean, it was standing room only. I mean, it was a beautiful Saturday, and there were thousands of people out there for that.
Well, there's enough of us left. We had an interesting conversation here at the house about a week or so ago. To my wife and my daughter and myself, they were talking between them about I guess, hybrid cars and fully electric cars, and they didn't really understand the difference. So they asked me, and I explained it to them. And my wife, sometimes you got to talk to somebody who doesn't know what's going on to get a perspective.
Yes.
And it was brilliant. So she says to me, well, if all these cars are going to come out, well, she knows that Mike at the shop has a Tesla. And she goes, well, what is it? I said, well, he put a charging station in it at the one shop. I said, and he put a charging station in at his house so he could charge that car up. And she goes, okay. And we've seen them in the malls, and we have them where I work at school. But she says to me, okay, so hypothetically, if the government has its way, she kind of she put on her Chassis John mask, actually.
Yep.
She goes, so if the government has its way and they take all the gasoline out of here and everybody's got to buy electric, she says, what about all the people who live in apartment buildings in Queens? We were just in Queens. All the cars, John, it's like when they park down the street in Queens, you see, as far as your eye can see in every direction, there's just cars on the street. Where are they plugging their cars in? What about the people in poorer neighborhoods who can't afford to have a $2,000 install on a 220 volt charging station?
Right.
What are they going to do? I was like, they're going to run out of electricity real fast.
Right, but you're like my buddy that took out his gas tanks, and he has a charging station. He's the first person on the East Coast to convert a gasoline petroleum gas station to all electric gas station, and he has electric pumps, and they have people come out there and charge up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what do the people do while they're charging their car? Like what's
Well, when he presented this to the city of Tacoma Park, he made it. It's in a small little city. Town. And there's a barber shop, and there's a couple restaurants, and there's a pizza joint, and there's a little strip mall thing. He said they come out, they charge the car, they can go to other places in the neighborhood to spend money or time, or a coffee shop. There's a coffee shop right across the street.
Yeah.
Everybody said, well, why, Dolly, why don't you put in a snack bar or something? He goes, no, I want to spread the wealth in the community.
Sure.
That's good.
Of course, you're right. Dolly's a great guy. I used to work with him back at the dealership. I've known Dolly for 30-some years, over 30 years, and a great guy. But I thought it was highly cynical of the state. After he goes through all this, the city puts up charging stations right around the corner from his gas station.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
right.
So what about the guys like me and Lewis who can't wait? Like, we want to go and get our gas and get the hell out. It's like I want a pit crew. I want to dump the jug in because I'm running late. Like, I don't want to wait for my car to charge, for 35 minutes.
Relax. We all just
look who's telling who to relax.
And Timbles and smell potpourri. We're all happy. Rainbows and dolphins. Everything's lovely.
Unicorns.
Are they going to have a dolphin barbecue?
We're going to sniff WD-40. Don't worry. All right.
It'll all be good.
Good. We're going to go have lunch with the president's son.
Here's a perspective on this from somebody who used to work in product development. And this is just, like I said, take everything I say with a grain of salt because the automotive business changes. But just from my vantage point, what you're saying, Ray, is a very, very valid point, right? Right now, and I believe Justin said here, the Mach-E, Ford has the technology and other automakers do too, where you're getting like 80% of a charge in 20 minutes, right? So the idea would be you stop at a rest stop, you go in, use the restroom, right? You get your coffee and you should be, charged up. The one thing I can think of, and again, basing my experience working in product development at Ford, is that with every product iteration that comes out, so that's 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, there's always improvements. And we've seen this with gasoline engines, right? So they have more torque, they have more horsepower, they're more fuel efficient, they're lighter weight, you know what I mean? So same thing for an electrified vehicle, right? It will charge faster if there's better technology, if there's better battery technology. The issue is, Like in Germany, they just can't get the raw materials to manufacture the battery. But, charging stations get refined, the infrastructure builds up, the electric vehicle becomes lighter, more efficient. So therefore it doesn't discharge as much while you're driving. Charging gets faster. You know what I mean? It's like, it's all possible. I just, and like I said, I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just, it's kind of one of those things where it's like you've had over 100 years of engineering and product development on the internal combustion engine, and you've had a fraction of that time on electric vehicles, really maybe 20 years, if that, if you're talking like Chevy Bolt kind of technology. But the crazy thing is that Edison and Ford, way back when, we're talking about doing an electric car, they just couldn't make it viable. They just couldn't make a good business model for it. And
they had them. They just used
had
batteries.
They were out.
Porsche did it. He did it before all that. He had four electric motors on wheels.
So again, it's like, and some of this, I think too, and again, grain of salt here, for better or worse. Like, and I'm not taking a side on politics or any of that stuff, but it's like a new generation of car buyers, right? So we're getting older, right? So what does the next generation, people who are being born now or people who are in their teens, right? When they go to buy a car, what is it that they're going to want, right?
They're not going to buy a car.
That's
Uber.
and
My daughter, case in point,
thought.
refuses to leave the apartment.
Right.
Really?
Since this pandemic hit.
Right.
She works from home. She's on Amazon. She's on all of these things. She gets all her groceries delivered. She gets her Amazon delivery every day. If they want to eat, I don't know, Burger King, there's some moron that'll come. He's all sweaty and disgusting looking with a bag of Burger King. She doesn't leave the apartment.
And that's certainly one school of thought.
They don't need cars.
Right.
All they need is an internet connection, and they are happy.
The other school of thought that if they are going to buy a car, or if they're going to buy a vehicle, what in the world do they want? Do they want tech and connectivity? Do they want to merge their digital lives with the car? One of the things that seems to emerge, and again, grain of salt here, my vantage point, is that sustainability is going to rank very high on their list, right? So when that generation goes to buy a car, they're going to look at automakers and go, well, how do you have sustainable manufacturing? What's your carbon footprint? What's your carbon what's your carbon focus, right? And
I'm so glad I'll be dead by then.
And like I said, I'm not saying it's good. But here's the thing, think just basic economics, right? These companies have got to survive and they've got to sell their products to a future generation. And I saw this not with electrification, but I was a service manager, a service advisor, later a manager at a Cadillac, Mercedes, BMW dealership, weird kind of hybrid. I can tell the story in another episode how that came to be. But I was on the Cadillac side as a service advisor, later a manager. And I remember in 2012 when the ATS came out. And I had a very good customer at the dealership. Guy was in his 70s, retired. He had a DTS. He had an 08 DTS, and we worked on his car, did the oil changes, tire rotations. He had seen the ATS and, I don't know, Car and Driver, Motor Trend somewhere, came in to check it out on the show floor, and he joked. I had a very good rapport with him. But he's like, Carl, that's not my Cadillac. He goes, but I get it. And he goes, because people like me are getting, he's like, I'm probably driving my last Cadillac, And I said, Larry was his name. I said, Larry, you're right. I said, your generation, you're not buying cars anymore. So Cadillac has to appeal to a future generation. So when all of these surveys and all these focus groups that they do, what I think these automakers have tagged onto is that, look, a future generation is going to care about sustainability and carbon footprint. And if we can put out in our marketing and PR that we're doing that and we're carbon neutral, then that will be socially responsible and that will lead them to our brand. Not saying it's right, not saying it's wrong, just saying that's just kind of where I think the wind is blowing.
Boy, are we going to go down
That makes sense.
Dinosaurs. We're going to go down as such
Morons.
dinosaurs. We're going to be like the scourge in history of the generations that ruined the world. That's what's
Right.
going to happen.
Oh,
We're going to be vilified to death after death.
I understand you're looking at it from the car manufacturer's point of view, and they're looking at this section right here, which is, okay, everyone's looking at carbon footprint. Right. There are two problems with that. First of all, electric cars are being shoved down our throats. It isn't really being driven by the marketplace. You also have, it's not the entire generation that's looking at carbon footprint. There is another part of the generation that's looking at that stuff going, that's nuts. This car, the gasoline cars work. I'm staying there.
Right.
And you can see this in politics right now. I am a huge follower of politics. Right. We are split right down the middle.
For sure. And here's the thing. I've been on several other programs where people have asked me this, what does a future car buyer want? Is it electrification? Is it autonomy? And I'm like, honestly, I don't know. I'm like, nobody, because how do you I just became an uncle just here 2 months ago. Right. So I'll be 40 this year. I'm 40 years older than my little niece who was just born 60 days ago. I have no idea what she's going to want in a future car. Not a clue. Maybe she's going to want a gasoline car. You know what I mean? And here's the thing. If she grows up with me and my wife as an aunt and uncle, she's going to be a muscle car fan by the time she can walk. You know what I mean? Right. But it's like, how do you know what these future generations want? We have no idea. Maybe they're going to want electric. Maybe they're not. And here's the thing I keep saying. It's not going to matter, because if these cars are so expensive, then nobody can afford them anyway. So it's not even going to matter. You're going to gasoline or electric, drive the cost down. I was just asked the other day for something that I was quoted in about electric trucks. And they're like, what should automakers focus on if they're going to bring electric trucks to the market? I'm like, cost, because the gasoline trucks are insane for cost. I don't know how anybody affords them. Electric or gasoline, you got to get the cost down.
Our great leadership, next year's taxes are offering insane amount of money for kickback for buying an electric car. So the price isn't going to go down because it's just like a washout. So,
when is the dirty little secrets of electric cars going to come out about the fact that the batteries have a shelf life and then they can't be environmentally taken care of when they're done? They're toxic. You can't do anything with them. What about all these cases of spontaneous combustion?
Lithium.
I read an article from a fireman that says you need an Olympic-sized pool of water to quench the fire on a Tesla S.
Yeah, you can't use water.
Right.
You can't use water.
When these things take right where Grumman used to be, it was in Newsday that one of these electric cars just spontaneously combusted and took out, 4 or 6 other cars because the heat was so intense.
They were flood damaged cars. And one of them was a Tesla. They just parked it out there in the field, and all of a sudden one day, bang, up in fire.
Yeah.
And John, you're probably the only person who knows that, because the main component of the modern batteries that makes all this possible is lithium. Lithium burns the same
and we
as
gave up.
magnesium.
We gave up all of that lithium in Afghanistan to China.
If you're wondering now how I know about
hey people,
batteries,
I gotta jump ship.
Same here. I'm fading.
All right, ship jumper.
Carl, you know the words. Come on anytime.
Yeah, we'll do. Real quick, Lewis, but before you take off here, I want to share, because I found that thing that Ray was talking about, the monthly payment here. Let me read it for you verbatim. According to Cox Automotive, the average payment on a new vehicle exceeded $530 in 2018, or about 10% of the median household income. As it concerns SUVs and crossovers, even compact versions are expected to rise 18% by 2025. In May of 2018, Kelley Blue Book noted the average transaction price for a new vehicle was $37,185, up 4% from May of 2018. And as of 2018, so this is, again, a few years ago, only about a third of new vehicles cost under $30,000, with 23% now north of $50,000.
Yeah.
So, and again, this is 2018 numbers. So, fast forward 4 years, and it's probably a very similar trend
Just
if they
for
were to do that
inflation.
study again. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our pay is not going up.
No.
No, it's not.
No.
So again, and it's like I don't know. Like I'm just telling you guys what I see here in Detroit, and like where my ear is at to the ground of the industry. But it's
That's why we love having you on, because you're
Thanks,
giving us
Paul.
a
We do
different
appreciate
outlook.
it.
Yeah, thank you guys.
You keep us
Yeah.
straight.
Never.
Oh, we get our best news from you.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
News that we can trust.
Yeah, thank you, fellas. No, I'm much appreciated.
Are you going to
I'm
SEMA?
wondering who's going to be the first of the big three to put electric motors in a pony car. Dodge or Chevy or Ford.
I think that honestly, Dodge is going to go that way because Charger, Challenger, they've already hinted at that. I'm a member of the Midwest Automotive Media Association. Last year we had a webinar with the top brass from Dodge because they had like I can't remember. There was like the Challenger 1320 or whatever. Something came out about a year ago. So they had a webinar with us journalists from the Midwest, and they talked about that, and they didn't confirm it, but they didn't deny it. It was basically like saying, look, after the 6.2 supercharged Hemi, the only other place we have to go for power delivery for instant torque is electrified. So maybe possibly Charger Challenger could be electrified, but it's like Lamborghini and Lotus are already doing it. Those boutique supercar manufacturers, they're already, and again, they haven't quite come out and say it, but the writing's on the wall. Like some of the vehicles you're looking at for Lotus and Lamborghini, that's the last of the gasoline variants that they're going to do. So,
Right.
Yeah, Dodge has the perfect name with Charger, right?
Totally.
Perfect name.
Right. And Jeep's already got that, Jeep's already got that hybrid electrified thing going on. I think you could see it in Dodge first. You know what I mean?
They'll sell a ton of them.
Sure they will. And
They
they
can go
sell
fast.
a ton of the gaseline versions,
Yeah.
Those cars are all over the
An
world.
electric, muscle car is a perfect part-time car.
Absolutely.
3 weeks ago at my Chrysler dealership, I saw a Grand Wagoneer.
Yep. Built
And
here
I
in
just
Detroit.
saw the TV commercials. What do you know about that? What platform is that on? Because that was a huge vehicle. It literally had like a 32-inch touchscreen.
Yeah. Hey, take care, Lewis. Boys.
All right,
Go on, talk
Yeah,
to
I
you.
gotta cut that too. See you guys. Carl,
Yeah,
thanks.
that put me on my let me see if I can look and find something. That's brand new. They built it here in Detroit. In
Yeah.
fact, I just drove by the plant the other day.
But it's really big. I mean, it's
Yeah.
almost like the Excursion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and then we had an Excursion, and I missed the Excursion because it was great because he threw everybody in the car, all 5 of us,
Yeah.
and they were 4 feet away. You couldn't touch anybody. Nobody touched you.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, it was great. But I saw. I wish I didn't have my phone with me because I would have taken some pictures. But it had Michigan tags on it, so I don't know if it was a rep or something. But
Might have been.
down here, the dealership I go into is Dar Cars, and they're one of the biggest dealerships on the East Coast down over here.
Sure.
And I just didn't know. I can't really find anything out, and of course, I do not want to walk in there and say, "Hey, what about this?" Because I'll never get that guy away from me.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Right.
But since I don't know if I'm in the market to get rid of my F-350, I could go for something big. Even though I drive a big tool truck, but I'd still go for something big.
Right. Yeah, you're starting to see more of those Grand Wagoneers around. And then there's the Grand Wagoneer, and then there's the Grand Cherokee L.
I've seen the Grand Cherokee, but that Grand Wagoneer looks bigger.
Yes, it is.
Wagoneer.
I've got one more thing I'm going to check while we're still on. I'm not I'm not sure of that platform.
Uh-huh.
I don't know offhand.
Carl, I got to tell you something too. You're not rushed for time, man. We have all the time in the world. We can stay on here as long as we want.
Oh, I
We
know.
push it 3 hours sometimes.
Yeah,
So-
we keep pushing.
We
Well,
push until John gets tired.
Here's
And I got to get up early tomorrow. I got to be up at 5 a.m.
Wow.
Here's what I do know. When the Grand Wagoneer came out in the early '60s, it was built on a Jeep Gladiator platform. Now I don't know if that's the case today or not. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah,
But I know in the early days, that I don't know.
Well,
Back in the days of
that's your homework assignment. You need to find out some info.
Yeah, I work for Maco Man, Brian. Yeah.
Just don't ask the guy at a Toyota dealership because they don't give you the right info on shit. They don't give you the right skinny.
No, well, the only thing about going into the showroom floor, as soon as you step in there and ask a question, I don't need some little dude calling me every 45 minutes wondering if I want to buy a car.
You know what? My buddy Bill just asked me, what about a Ram chassis? Could it be on that platform?
Maybe.
Because that's big enough, certainly.
It certainly is. Let me see what else I got in
Two-wheel
my
drive
little
pickup
media
chassis.
files. And Wagoneer. Let's see if I got like something because we did.
Well, that was the thing with this Maverick too. The EV version is full all-wheel drive.
Yep.
And if you go to the Ecotech, it's a front-wheel drive.
Yep.
Is Dodge still building Nissan pickup trucks?
That I don't know.
Nissan pickup trucks?
Yeah. It was either Nissan or Toyota was supposed to. It's a Dodge Ram with a different body on it.
I did not.
I'm
That I
sure it
didn't
was
know.
Nissan.
I tell you, well, even some of the Toyotas, the Tacoma looks like it could be that looks close to a Dodge.
Right.
And the Tundra too. That's another line. They
Maybe
all look
it's-
fairly similar.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Toyota.
Justin,
I had read about it, and
Justin,
then I saw
you're
it.
right. Ram 1500. Justin's right in the chat. Ram 1500. So
I had it over here. So Bill said the Ram. Yeah. So
it Ram 1500. Makes sense.
For the Grand Wagoneer?
Yep. Ram 1500.
The only thing that scares me with that, or Chrysler, that is that Fix Again, Tony, Fiat, Saab. I mean, all that Peugeot, all that crap that they're tangled into. I don't want any of that.
Hey, Brian, whereabouts in relation to the scanner are you going to cut the window for the taco, the taco, the vending site? Whereabouts on that wall is it going to go?
No, I can't do that. I'm up for a renewal, man. I gotta have somebody come out and inspect, and I can't have a taco truck yet.
Those guys would love it.
Damn. Come on, man. I sell tools here. We don't have time for food.
So when you close the slider, you got like a Mako poster over it. That's
That's
it.
Tools and tacos.
The shelves kind of part back into each other, and
Right.
cooking thing comes out. We're working on getting Brian a dual business.
If anything, it's not going to be tacos. It's going to be hot dogs and chili dogs. You know.
There you go.
go.
All day long, brother.
All day.
There you
I'm
go.
gonna have. I'll have my Carolina dogs. You know, chili with coleslaw. Good old Carolina dog, boy. I tell you one thing, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
That way you're making money when your truck has to regen and you're just sitting there.
Yeah.
The way you can do something.
Right?
You can make money.
My wife bought these sausages. We had them a while ago too. They were like southwestern flavored sausages, and she grilled them up, cut up a bunch of potatoes and onions, and cooked that up in the pan, and we threw it all together. And man, these things were good. I was like, that was a good quick dinner.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Now I need a midnight snack.
Yeah, I'm
But-
thinking about that
Right?
myself.
Yeah. Well, listen, fellas, I'm gonna sign off here, and
right.
but hey, always a pleasure to be on.
Always
a pleasure
great.
to have you.
I mentioned that on Facebook when Lewis put up the thing that said you were coming on, and I'm like, always a great episode when he comes on.
Yeah,
Right.
thank you guys. I appreciate it as always. So all you guys take care. Everybody out there and playing in traffic land, thanks for listening. And I'll see you guys soon. Okay.
You got it. Thanks, Carl.
All right. Take care,
All right.
everybody. Bye bye.
Alrighty.
Don't forget, everybody's got to follow Automoblog and AutoVision News on social. Well, Carl, why don't you throw out your
Yeah.
you can follow how they can.
Yeah, sure. Let me do that real quick. We are Automoblog. We are very active on Twitter. It's our most active social media platform there. So that's just at Automoblog. We post a lot of classic cars, a lot of muscle cars, a lot of neat concept cars, but we also post up all the product reviews that I was talking about. So those wheelsy pedal reviews, any kind of automotive product reviews. I'm going to post one on a Shell jump starter tonight that I did. Pretty good product, not perfect, but pretty good product. So
One with the flashlight.
Yes, the one with the flashlight. So I'm going to post that review up. So we've got our product reviews on there. So follow us there on Twitter at Automoblog, and then our homepage automoblog.net. But I'm usually myself or our creative director. We're running the Automoblog Twitter. So if you want to banter back and forth with us, we're happy to talk cars with you.
My favorite segment of the Automoblog, all the stuff is great, but I like the late night pictures the best. That's my favorite.
Yes, thank you. And that was the brainchild of Alex Hartman, who's our creative director. So he does the late night hashtags. I like that too.
Yeah.
And, no, thank you. I'll pass that on to him. And Justin, I just saw your message as well. Always thanks for listening, and a pleasure to chat with you as well. So, all right. And Ray, just text me whenever you need a last minute guest, and I'll be there, man.
Back on Motormouth Radio. You're a great pinch hitter, A-list guest who doesn't mind coming in off the bench. I tell you, it's great.
Yeah,
There you go.
anytime. Put me in, Coach. Matt Coman, Brian, Chastity John. Take care, guys. From all of us here at Automoblog. Have a good weekend.
All right, Carl.
guys.
See you.
Good night. Thanks. Yes, always fun having Carl around.
Fantastic.
Oh yeah, man! Oh man, of Chevets.
Oh boy.
I tell you. Okay. So no more new stuff. Brian's making progress. Wheel tub looks good on the floor over there. That's.
Yeah, I got them. They're stacked on top of each other.
All right.
There's
Nice.
actually two of them there.
Oh, okay.
I had to take them out in order to weld these things to the chassis.
Yeah, the pictures you sent before, you're going to make easy work out of that. Those pinch welds. That'll knock out. The thing is, like I said to you, that's the stuff that I tell people all the time. It's like when they look at the paint, go, "Ooh, the paint looks great." Like, you don't know how many freaking hundreds of hours I got underneath of this paint that that took all the time that no one ever sees.
Well, you know what I'm going to do? I think you can see it in the video I sent you. Those pieces of 2x3 tubing that I tack welded to the pinch weld and the rocker.
Yeah.
I can use that basically as an anvil.
Yeah.
So I will go all along the pinch weld and use that as my backing and use my body hammer and flatten that pinch weld out from end to end.
Right.
And then I'll use my spot weld cutter and I'll drill through the inside, and then I can go in with the MIG and I can put a MIG spot weld and literally strengthen that pinch weld up a lot stronger than stock.
Right. What I've seen.
Then I can knock the 2x3 off and start doing what I need to do to make the rockers absolutely perfect.
Yeah. The guy down at the shop who does the body work, Brian probably knows all about it. They have more attachments and special gizmos for slide hammers, flat bars, hooks. In fact, I'm going to use one of them to pull the axles out of the FJ. And some of them, like, they always make special ones too for stuff they need.
Yeah. My slide hammer kit, I got the deal with the screw.
Yeah, sure.
And then I've got the hook.
The hook, right.
And a couple of other things that go with it. So boom, 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 boom.
Right.
You probably have the old silver slapper.
Yeah, I think it is silver, the weighted part.
I have one that has a red weight, and the other one I have is in a green box. I think that's a heavier one though. I think that's
the red one is a body hammer one. That's a 10-pound. The silver slapper is 5.
I think the silver one I have is bigger. It's heavier than the red one. I very, very rarely ever use them because I don't do it for body stuff.
No.
So you have the silver slapper.
It's in a green. Well, it's not a Matco one, yeah. But
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
Well, it's back in the day.
yeah. My stuff is old. That stuff ages well. You can still use it today like you did 20 years ago.
Sure,
That's
absolutely.
what
Mine's,
Pull-up.
mine's
Right,
sitting
Don?
in the bottom. Yup,
Yeah.
that's the one.
There you
Same
go.
one.
Silver slapper.
Yeah, it's sitting in the bottom of my toolbox in the case.
Now we sell. That's a 5-pound hammer.
Yeah.
And we sell a red one with the small hole, so you can upgrade it to 10 pounds
Uh-huh.
if you want, and you don't have to change over. Yours is probably like 3/4-inch pipe, right, Ray? Yours is a bigger.
The
mouth.
big, yeah, that
That's
one.
that's a body hammer one.
Yeah.
But
Okay, I've got a couple of small dents, and then on the passenger side in the back, it's kind of caved in. But the good thing is I can actually go in through the inside.
It's like you said, like, what the hell did the guy do here? And I'm looking at it saying, yeah, what the hell did he do there? Like, what the
I don't know.
hell was that all about?
It's like he parked it on a curb or one of those things.
That's like
where
we were
you-
talking last week about getting stuck on the parking, the
Yeah.
concrete thing. Yeah.
I have no clue how he caved in the fender mount, in front of the firewall. I'm like, how did
Right.
that happen? But I mean, if you look at it, it's damaged. It hit something.
You
It
could
may
have
have
run up.
fell off a jack stand or
It could have run up.
something.
It could have run up over a curb too. Could have jumped the curb and come down on it.
Yeah, it's
Hop
unreal.
pursuit,
But it doesn't look so bad now that I got it on the rotisserie. I'm like, oh, this is very fixable.
Well, you get a different angle on it. Yeah. No, the rotisserie makes all the difference in the world.
Yep.
It's like working on a lift makes a big difference. So does a rotisserie.
Yeah.
That's great.
And
Yeah.
I'll definitely, once I get the front frame powder coated and put back in the car, I'll readjust the rotisserie and grab it by the front chassis.
Yeah.
Because then I can start to do my plumbing, my brake lines, my fuel
sure.
lines,
Right.
and
Right.
just leave them long. The fuel line, leave the fuel line long at the front,
Yeah.
and then after the engine goes in, done deal.
Oh, by the way, I looked up. I had the note that Jason was telling us about last week. That Rainex stuff for the headlights.
Yeah.
I looked it up, and I tell you, I'm probably going to buy it. They sell yellow and amber, but the amber, at least on the website, it looked like a rusty orange color. It's not the amber I want. I want would want like a deep
Oh, like
yellow.
Yeah.
Almost like the barkeeper's friend, something like almost like a gold as opposed to yellow.
Right.
But anyway, but they do have a yellow too, and they actually had a little video of the guy applying it. It's a pre-cut round disc. You just start from the center and you work your way out, and he just worked out all the bubbles, and in like 3 minutes he had the headlight done. I'm like, wow, they're like $18
That's
for
awesome.
If I can't find the spray, I'm going to Walmart tomorrow. I got to look for a few things. If I can't find this Rust-Oleum spray, I'm going to go with the Rainex.
That'll work.
So, yeah. We shall see.
I was extremely happy when I got this thing welded up. I can spin it with one hand.
Oh, that's nice and balanced, yeah.
I found the center line of the car very rapidly.
Right. Good.
I'll tell you what, because I always, I'm always looking for some education, and I already used this before, so I know what it was all about. But I went on YouTube and I typed in, auto twirler and rotisserie and the whole deal, and I was amazed at how many of these mooks that put these videos up on YouTube telling you how to use this thing don't know how to use this thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I watched like 5 different videos, and not one of them realized that lag screw has to be adjusted to find the center of gravity on the car.
Oh,
There was
man.
this one guy, he mounted that whole thing up, and he used that to get it so that the height with the cylinder collapsed was able to grab the body.
Uh-huh.
He never bothered to adjust it again.
Wow.
He got the car on it, and he was literally standing on the rotisserie trying to pull the car over. And I'm
Wow.
like, idiot.
Yeah.
turn the darn screw.
Yeah.
You know, there was another guy. He mounted the car, and then he pumped the jack as high as it would go. You know, and then he started messing with the screw.
That's why when you go to YouTube University, you have to have you gotta have Carl's grain of salt, because just because the guy is showing you something doesn't mean he knows what he's actually doing. YouTube University.
Where's that feedback coming from?
It was me. I'm sorry.
It was a hot dog cooker.
Bad boy. Yeah, think about it. If you do the hot dogs, you could do hot dogs from around the country.
You get the footlongs.
Right? You could do like Nathan stuff. You could do dirty water dogs, sabrettes.
Sabrettes. You gotta have sabrettes. You know who's a good hot dog? Is a
the
brand
kid that works for me comes from Chicago. There's something about the Chicago dogs. It's in like a seeded roll, and they use this lime green relish.
I love relish.
Yeah, they use this stuff that's like it looks like it glows like it's radioactive. Have you ever seen that?
It's mustard relish.
Is it?
Mustard relish is like almost the color of mustard. It's it's bright electric green. The stuff we buy is like
he took me to a place here it's a Chicago dog place. I forget the name of it, and they have. I've never seen relish that bright electric green like that. I'm like, what is this stuff?
There's a place down by my niece in South Carolina. It's called Sonic Dog, and their logo was like a rocket. It must have been from like the '60s, from like the rocket age, and they just never changed it. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could do brats. You could do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
They had when I was at training up there. What is that? It was in Jersey. What's that? Mawa, yeah. Mawa. What was that?
Mawa.
Yeah. That's where the training facility was. And
that's where the dealerships are.
Yeah. When so one night the instructor and a buddy of his that was at Jaguar, we went out, took me to his house, Italian. Mom was making dinner, grandma was making dinner. When they saw me walk in, they said, "Oh, you brought somebody home that can eat." And every time I would take a bite, it was just another scoop of stuff. And I was like, really, I've had enough. So we get done.
Yeah.
So we're done eating. And so then they said, well, let's go down to I can't remember the name of the club.
Bada bing.
Because we're going to go down to the club. It was Monday Night Football, So I said, all right. And no. It was it was kind of shit. It was like something out of The Sopranos, man. It was
Satin Dolls.
It was a club,
That's far from Mawa, though, but yeah.
So, well, this was in New York. He lived in New York, so we went over to New York, and it was like I said, it was some club, and so we walk in, and he goes, "You want a dirty water dog?" And I said, "I just ate 27 pounds of fucking pasta." And they come over, and they have this big bucket, and the dog's all floating in it, and they're
it's
like,
all
"Grab a
oily
dog."
and skanky looking.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, give me two.
I ate so much that night. Sat there, drank beer, watched the game, I don't know how many of these dirty water dogs we had.
If you go to New York and you have 2 dirty water dogs, you'll never get COVID.
Yeah.
I tell you one thing, dude. I guess that's what did it, and that was 30-some years ago. But all I can remember was this was like, I don't know, this was early 90s, I guess. It was early 90s, 89, whatever. And all I can remember was this big, it was like a Coupe de Ville thing, Cadillac. And it was like electric blue with a white top. And this guy drives by, stops, and like everybody had to get out of the way. And this big guy gets out. And they all like catered this guy in and took him off. And I was like, dude, it's time to get the fuck out of here, man.
Yeah.
I've seen enough.
I was pimping.
So now you're okay. You're with us. You're okay.
Right.
Don't worry. Because I'm like, that guy talks funny over there, and I'm like, oh man, just keep eating the dirty water dogs.
Forget about it.
Yeah,
My buddy Bill wants to know if
right.
anybody
All right.
remembers.
Don't worry.
My buddy Bill wants to know if anybody remembers the Howard Johnson's hot dogs. They were on the
Howard
top split
Johnson.
buns. Yeah, they were good. That's like that's like Woolworth's luncheonette counter. They had the
Yes.
grape and the orange machines there. And again, I used to go there with my mom, and it was like the top split bun with the hot dogs. It was like that was a great lunch, man.
Well, that top split bun is what they do with the Chicago dogs,
Yeah, Pepperidge Farm sells those.
and it's got poppy seeds
Okay,
in the bread.
all right.
And I don't know. The hot dog's a hot dog.
They do something down in Newark. In fact, my chiropractor, it was his old. I think he worked with the guy. I know they went to chiropractic school, and they do something down there where it's like a pita bread, and they stuff like 3 hot dogs into the pita bread, and then put all the toppings on it. It's like a staple in Newark.
That's good because then you can walk around with it.
Yeah,
it's
it's
all
in
inside.
it's in a pocket. Yeah,
Yeah. That's fine. That would work.
yeah. I mean, they have lines out the door and up the block all the time. The place is, it's an institution out there.
Last time we went to New York, when I came to see you,
Yeah.
And what was the name
it's
of
like
that
every
club?
other cart that was there was like one of these halal guys.
Yeah, that's the big thing now.
I was like, "What?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? What happened?"
No.
here?"
I know.
You could still find the pretzel guys.
Yeah, I love
But
those pretzels.
They didn't speak English.
No, I love those
And
pretzels.
And then
man.
there was, there was a couple of dirty water hot dog guys down by where the trade centers. Or something.
Well, even when you went in, that was around Christmas. They probably had like the guys with the chestnuts. You said guys with the.
Oh
with the
yeah,
hot-
those guys were there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
But
chestnut
it's
guys
just
were
you know
there.
what? That's the smell of the city. That's just like that's the experience. It's like
That smell. As soon as you walk into the city,
Yeah.
you get that smell.
it's the city smell. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good smell though.
You get the subway smell coming up from the grates. I mean, there's a whole there's so many different smells.
Yeah, that brought back a lot of memories. As soon as I stepped
Yeah.
in over there, I was like, "Oh yeah, look at that! I haven't smelled this in years."
Right.
You know? It's that funky. It's kind of like
Yeah.
a tar.
It's
sort
a warm kind of a smell. Yeah. Yeah.
The city stinks, but it's
Yeah.
a good smell.
Yeah.
I was
I don't-
impressed that when we were there, that the subway cars were immaculate.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
Probably
were
not anymore.
void of graffiti.
Yeah.
The interiors were nice.
Yeah.
They figured out how to get that stuff to stay clean.
Yeah. Well, they used to have enforcement down there. Now it's the Wild West again.
Yeah.
I shudder to think what it's like right now.
My uncle says it's a war zone.
I know. My daughter's looking at a job. Well, it's actually uptown. It'll be uptown from Penn, like 57th and 7th. Like, it's either like the F train or it's like the I guess there's a bus that runs up that way. It's like I don't want to take in a subway even for 2 stops. Not in this day and age.
Nope, it's crazy. It's not the way it was.
No. So, Brian, is that a 6S that you sold?
No. It's a 5.
Oh, okay.
It's a 5S.
Good.
Yep. And this is a 4. Oh, I don't know if you can see here. See, this is a 4S.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Thunderstorm gray. Love this color. It's a beautiful.
Nice.
So I got that. So
What's
Yeah, I
that
got
selling
that.
for?
well, list is 8,000 list. But
Can make you a deal.
give you a hell of a
Yeah.
deal.
20
hell
bucks
of a
a
deal.
week.
I'll
$20
give
a
you $2,000 for your $349 Craftsman chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buy this, and we put you on the deal.
Put you on the deal. So I got that, and I got a blue 4 in the backyard that I got another guy interested in. So
Brian, did you get a chance to see that video Clay put up at the other Matco guy from Ohio? That
No,
truck,
he's from North Carolina.
North Carolina. My God, this truck was unbelievable.
Patrick is a really nice guy.
He doesn't
very
say
quiet.
much, though.
Huh?
He doesn't say much.
No, he's a very quiet guy.
Yeah.
I talked to him once or twice. The guy is really, I mean, he's really good what he does. And he's, like I said, one of the things that I'm trying so hard is the discipline, and he's got a lot of discipline.
The first thing I thought, just when Clay was in there initially, I thought this guy either had a company and sold it, or he's coming in with a bundle of private money to set up a truck like that. I mean,
he's been in business for a long time.
He only said didn't he say 6 years?
I think it's been a little longer.
That's not a long time. Or is that a long time in the tool world?
It's the average life is about 37 seconds.
That's a long time then. No, that was a beautiful truck. He really had it set up nice. So look at the ratchets, geez, it's freaking. I mean, anyway, had the lights. I mean, everything about the way he did it was very, very appealing. But that's what Clay was saying. He says, if you guys think that a tool truck, the appearance of a truck doesn't matter because it's all about the tools, he says, you're really fooling yourself because, like you said, when you come in the truck, the first thing you see is the floor, as you're coming up a big truck, and then you see whatever's in front of you. And if it's dirty or garbage, it's, I mean, most of us don't care. Who cares? You don't have to, to get what you need.
Oh, it's hard. Dude, it's hard. I mean, I mean, I can't tell you how hard I try. And like I said,
it can't be as bad as the mall. Like when you go in the mall around Christmas time and the women have been shopping and all the clothes are all over. You see they leave the clothes in those departments on the floor up the. Jesus, they're like freaking animals.
There are days that this truck, it looks like this truck rolled over.
So you got to get a stun gun and just start shooting people, zapping them.
I tell you, it's like
put that down.
And my biggest problem is Monday, Tuesday, it's okay. Wednesday it starts because by that time I am so tired of picking everything up off the floor from the from driving, over these roads and everything falling off of it, And by that time I'm just I've had enough, and I just chuck it up in the corner, you know what I'm saying? It's like picking up after kids all day long,
Yeah. You get that, right? So you cruising around, you hit a bump, a pothole or something, shit falls all over the place.
Oh yeah, dude.
You're constantly picking stuff up.
It's funny when I'm up front and you're driving along here, it's a game. It's okay, well, what fell? And I tell you, the worst is when your tap and die set, 108 piece tap and die set falls.
Oh my
God.
And this is the problem I usually have.
You got to keep that low.
Well, what happens is somebody will go, oh yeah, okay, and they set it on the corner of the shelf.
Yeah.
And if you don't catch it before you walk out, that's falling.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Like I told you, Ray, I mean, it's a 24/7. I mean, here it is. Yeah. It's 11 o'clock at night, and I probably have about another hour and a half of stuff to straighten up. And then I got to go in and get ready. Then I got to do the paperwork.
Right. So Matco's got some special Halloween socks this year, huh?
Yeah. You want a pair?
You got any left? Those are... Yeah.
Actually, I gotta send you your stuff, dude. I got a box here for you.
What, glow in the dark or something?
No, they're not that fancy. Come on.
Okay. And I saw something on. It was on one of the Twitter or Instagram. They were saying something.
I need to send you a bill and your stuff.
3 bills.
Yeah.
Actually, I walked in the shop last week. I tell you, I'm lucky. These guys are cool because I walked in the shop and the first thing that Derek says to me is Matco Man. I'm like, no Matco Man yet. I said, don't worry. I said, you know what's going to happen. I said, you're moving upstate. I said, I'm going to be on the hook for your tools. That's what's going to happen. I'm going to pay because you got my credit card. I said, I'm going to come find you wherever the hell. I'll hunt you down like a dog.
Yeah, I'll do that this weekend, Ray. I need to get that done.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
I know, but shit. I've
been using that socket set, that 1/4-inch set. I'm not a set guy. I'm used to having my stuff in the box, but I found it really is convenient to grab that and go and just do something quick.
Oh yeah, the 1/4-inch set.
The Silverline one.
Yeah, this one.
This one. Yeah, same one.
Come on now, you can't be showing me up.
I'm matching you. Right. Oh, I found something I didn't have. A friend of mine calls me the other night, and he garbage picked this electric radiator out of his neighbor's garbage. He says, I can't believe it. I saw it there during the day. I didn't take it. I came home later on, and like somebody cut the electric cord off it. So I want to change the cord. I'm like, that's a piece of cake. He goes, yeah, the problem is, the screws, I got to take the back cover off. And there's this one screw that's way down deep. I don't have a driver deep enough. So he brought it. I said, bring it over. It ends up, first of all, good thing he did, because he was telling me, he goes, yeah, it's got those funny screws shaped like a star. I'm like, yeah, a Torx driver. Oh, nice. Now, they were actually security Torx with the little nipple in the middle. So I have the drivers, the little ones that you'd put on a tool, but I didn't. And this thing had to go down like almost 6 inches.
Wow!
Literally, what we had to do is cut the plastic away from it, because we couldn't get at that one. I didn't have any. I said, I have nothing that long, and I could put it on like an extension, but then the shaft extension is too wide. So I said, but I know a guy who would have it. I said, you want to take a ride? He goes, well, where do we got to go? I said, not too far. We just got to run down to Maryland. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, we're going to shoot down. I said, I got a friend, my medical man probably has it. We'll go to his house. And this was already like 10:30, 11. I said, he'll be up. I said, he'll probably be out in the tool truck. I said, we'll just knock on the door. He looked at me like I was like from outer space.
Take a quick run. We'll be back. That's when you tell the wife, we'll be right back. We got to go down here and get a tool.
Right. Be back a little bit. Don't wait up.
Come back with crab cakes, right?
Yeah, don't wait up, hon. Be back soon.
So I go to Fort Myers today,
Uh-huh.
and my customer opens up the door. This is the guy that owned a Chevy dealership in upstate New York, and he's retired. And he's like a car collector. So he opens up the garage door, and he's got, where did it go? Look at this. It's a Fairlane 500.
Oh, yeah, with a Continental kit.
Yeah,
and a convertible.
Fairlane 500 convertible. It's got
pipes.
Lakes pipes. It's got these
Big
funky. No, it's a mirror, and on the other side, it's a light.
Is that a 312?
It's got a small block with dual quads.
It's probably a 312.
But it's got, because this thing doesn't want to focus on here.
I can kind of see it.
It's got a serpentine belt drive, a modern serpentine belt
A lot
drive.
of chrome, too.
Oh, everything's all polished. The master booster, the master cylinder, the intake manifold. This thing is killer. It's got an aluminum radiator. I was amazed at this car. Yeah, look at this. They're spotlights on the fenders.
Right.
What else?
Walked into one of my
Look at
body
the nose.
shops.
Look at the nose on that thing.
59 Cadillac. They're restoring.
Yeah.
The thing.
I was so impressed with this Ford. I mean, it's like, whoa. And then in the garage on the other side of the house, he's got a 2021 Corvette. Mid-engine, fully loaded.
Yeah. Nice.
Crazy stuff. Didn't expect to see that when he opened up the garage today. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. No, that's a car that you got to really, like. He's got history with that, with something like that.
Yeah. He had a complete frame-off restoration done on it. Took 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How old is this guy?
I think he's about 70.
Makes sense. That's what he probably had in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice guy. Super nice guy.
Yeah. Nice. Had a cloth top on it too. It looked like.
He's amazing. I love him.
Yeah.
You know? I go down there. I take care of their aquarium. He's
Uh-huh.
always handing me a $50 bill. Here, take this. I'm like, I don't need the tip.
Yeah.
I said, I own the company, and I'm charging your credit card for the job today.
Right.
No, it's okay.
Get lunch. Get lunch.
Yeah. Guy's awesome.
Well, John, like I said, that's what made my North Carolina trip so nice because, we're tipping everybody. Like we know how to tip. And the people are like, oh, anything else? Oh my God, anything else you need? What do you want? Wash my car for me. Just clean it up a little. Vacuum. Make sure you vacuum the rugs. They probably would have done it. It's like they're falling over you. It's like even in the Waffle House, the girls following us out the door, thanking us. Yeah. So I left it like I don't know an $8 tip on a $20 bill, whatever, $22 bill. It's $8. Like, hey, I love the Waffle House. Thanks.
Yeah. Waffle House is great. Barb hates Waffle House. I'm like, why?
I know. Oh, I love it.
She don't like Waffle House.
No. Yeah, Linda likes it. I guess down here they used to, someone leaves them a buck and change or $2 or, Yeah. Whatever.
It's all good. Well, I think I'm going to hit the hay because I don't like getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
No, I don't blame you. We got to drive again? You got somewhere to go?
I gotta get up. I gotta get to the shop. I gotta package up like 30 fish and transport them to Melbourne, which is on the East Coast. Yeah, right. It's on the East Coast. It's below Cocoa Beach.
Right.
To an Italian restaurant that we do. I gotta meet my employee Chad over there tomorrow. He's servicing the tank, and I'm bringing the fish that we're adding to the system. So I have to be the one to transport them out there. And then
you could send them out and transport them. You probably can't see that.
Yeah. Shad. Beam me up, Scotty.
Yeah, he made it.
That's pretty. I thought it was really cool. Barb, we were watching the news and we saw the replay.
Yeah.
And Barbara was totally like, he's been bought and sold. She says that she goes, Bezos is smart. He's well loved. He's been Captain Kirk forever.
Yeah.
She goes, he's the new spokesman for his space program.
Okay.
She totally believes that the majority of it was scripted and it was expected.
But the fact remains, he still had to go up and do.
Yes. Yeah. No, I listened to it live. I was driving and I was listening to it live, and I was getting choked up with what he was saying when he got out of the spaceship.
And there's
because I genuinely feel that that's exactly how he really felt. It's an amazing thing to do.
And there's people who argue that he didn't really go into space because he never actually left the ionosphere, and they stayed under that crap. Come on, really?
He was at 0G.
Yeah. Come on.
I made a post about it. The fact that there's all this crap going on everywhere, not only just here, and there's all these billionaires are playing with their rocket ships.
Right.
And basically, if you've got money, doesn't matter what's going on.
Yeah.
Your world is completely unaffected.
It never does.
So Richard Branson, he's got his little dealie, where they tuck up underneath the wing of a plane, they fly off, and then he lights the engine up and takes them up to the limit there. And then Bezos got this giant dildo.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. Exactly.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah.
And one of the things, I'll tell you what, I'm, Mr. Skeptic and I like facts. And there were two women that were doing the announcing for Bezos on this whole deal. They're his commentators. And this one woman, she was so enthralled that the booster comes down and lands. And then the rocket, the capsule comes down and lands. And she was like, and these are amazing. They're completely reusable. And I'm like, Elon Musk's been doing that for 10 years, honey. Where you been?
Yeah.
I've seen his booster rockets land side by side on an asphalt landing pad at Cape Canaveral.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
So you were able to do this rocket that comes back. Well, Musk is a billion times. He's light years
The
ahead.
space shuttle was the same way. The fuel cell that landed off and went. It just when it hit the fucking water, it just got destroyed. That's all.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem with the space shuttle is that
I mean,
a lot of those that liquid fuel container, those things came back down, but a lot of them got damaged and couldn't be reused.
I know, but that's just typical government. But hey, it was reusable eventually.
Right. Somebody was bringing it to the recycling center on the off hours, like scrapping it.
Yeah. But I mean, the stuff that SpaceX is doing is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
The technology is way above anybody else's stuff.
Yeah, a lot of talent out there.
It's cool.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right, fellas. Brian, get back to work. We'll clear this thing out. So tonight was great with Carl Anthony from. Don't forget to check out Automoblog and AutoVision News. They're on. They do a lot of stuff on Twitter, which is not my favorite platform anymore. But they post heavy on there, so I get to see all their stuff. So for Lewis Lee.